Okay, so I don't have any kind of like, what's up, guys? It's me, Asterisk, and be sure to slap that like. I don't have any kind of intro to this, so we're just gonna go as we are. This is the insert title here podcast. Hopefully, we'll come up with
working title.
Yeah, hopefully we'll come up with some cool like pun or something.
Hopefully.
Before the actual video gets uploaded. This is going to be a very kind of chill podcast, which means we're using that as an excuse for any kind of lack of good technical setups and stuff. We're very much making this as we go.
Yeah.
Yes, so the way the podcast is going to work is I'm going to say words wrong a lot.
Hell yeah, my favorite.
Yep. We're basically going to go where the way the structure for now, I'm thinking, is going. We start with what's been happening recently and what's been going and updates and stuff. Then we'll be kind of talking into like recent news related stuff that's been happening or what's going to happen. And we're probably going to have a bunch of tangents where we talk about useless shit for a while. But honestly, that's probably going to be the best part of the podcast.
It probably will, actually, yeah.
Yes, so I feel like for now I'm going to take the lead because I have the most important stuff to talk about. Because everything you're going to say is shit. No,
the other one who said you have a list, so.
Yeah, I have a list. I have a list in my brain.
I was going to say, don't tell me it's a mental list.
It's a mental list. I'm the best at preparing stuff. So. This kind of doubles up as an important update video for my channel. Most people probably won't listen to this update, so whatever. My computer recently broke, and that's great. It's great.
I swear I didn't have any part in that. I mean, my tech over the course of the tech support I tried to give, it did indeed get worse, but I don't think I can be blamed for that.
I don't even bother like people in comments trying to help or anything. I know what the problem is. I've experimented with a bunch. It's the kind of problem that can only really be solved with money, and I don't have money. And with recent YouTube stuff, it's going to be more impossible to get money. But we're going to get into that in due course. And so because of that, I had to put the channel on a hiatus. And you can tell the hiatus is over because you can hear me talking. Because I managed to find an old burner PC that just isn't very good, but it's good enough to do some stuff. So that means that scripts are still probably going to be about as good as they usually are because, of course, all I really need is the ability to write to be able to put out a good script. So the script should be the same. If that's what you come to the channel for, which hopefully that is what you come from the channel for, because that's like the only thing I'm half decent at, other than maybe editing, then yeah, the scripts are still good. Everything's fine. Videos will probably be out about as often as they usually are because...
And how often is that?
Yeah, exactly.
To be fair, it's a bit more often than mine, so...
Yeah, exactly. The editing's going to be very kind of stripped back because there's only so much this PC can do. The videos, a very minor thing, most people will barely even notice. The video is probably going to be 720p from now on instead of 1080p, but I don't even think anyone really notices.
I just go with 720p because I can't really be bothered uploading it in 1080.
Yeah, exactly.
I could do. Like, there's not really much of an excuse not to. I just end up not doing it because I can't be bothered waiting. Even though I upload them, I start uploading the video just before I go to bed. So there's not really an excuse. Maybe I should start 1080. I don't know.
For me, it's more the rendering than it is the upload.
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah, because upload, because I've got like such good internet works, assuming it doesn't cut out. In fact, I'm gonna very quickly put that I've got 4G on now too, so if it cuts out, it shouldn't immediately cut out.
Good idea.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's more the rendering because even when that PC was working, it was on its last legs. I will admit I haven't cleaned it as much as I wanted to. However, I will admit now I did go back and clean and de-dust the thing, and so whilst it still doesn't work, the fans are pretty damn quiet. So I'm
Nice.
proud of that. So that's good.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
with my laptop rendering, well, not even just rendering, using Premiere Pro in general, I do blue screen a bit too often for my liking.
yeah, exactly. I'm probably, if I do decide to get a replacement instead, I don't know whether or not I'm going to go for the new motherboard or just outright replacement. It
Mm.
depends on how things go. If I do get an outright replacement, it probably will be like a decent laptop in the style of yours, because desktop PCs, there's so much that can go wrong with individual parts.
Oh
I
yeah.
would rather kind of have one big solid package,
Mm.
at least for now, because
Yeah.
I can't be bothered. Like, again, if you have a gaming PC or whatever, it's like, oh, every couple of months or so, you gotta open it up and de-dust it and
Yeah.
get on your rubber gloves so you don't electrocute yourself. That's another thing. That's a good tangent.
Mm.
When I was cleaning the PC, because I got the rubber gloves on and stuff, because I'm not a fucking idiot.
Mm.
Whilst I was cleaning it and everything, I did feel a tingle, and I'm like, if I wasn't wearing rubber gloves, that would have been the exact moment that my life changed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jeez.
that was a weird feeling to have.
I'm
So
sure.
I'm glad I'm not a fucking idiot, and I'm glad I'm like, electricity, better use some rubber.
Yeah.
So that was smart of me. One of the only things that is smart that I'm ever going to do, as you can tell by how awkwardly I'm wording this.
Honestly, you're wording it better than I would have thought. So keep up the
Yeah,
decent work.
yeah, great moves. Irrelevant YouTube
Ah,
channel.
ooh, that's a real burn. It's a double burn because I made that payday video.
Nice. We're gonna call this the H3 Hater Cast.
Hey.
The person in your intro isn't even the first lady anymore. You jackass! Update your intro. How hard could it be to get one of the Trumps to be in your intro? I don't understand. Yeah. So
Yeah.
back to updates. Not really much else to say. I'm just gonna try my hardest, because especially considering this is a somewhat surprisingly for January busy time of year, in terms of the fact that the new Precure and the new Super Sentai and everything start airing soon, and I want to kind of do like first impression videos of those. Especially considering that usually I don't give a shit about Precure,
Usually.
but this is an anniversary series, and it's already been confirmed that the characters of Futaiwa are going to be in it in some
okay.
shape or form. So I have to watch
Background
it. 'Cause
characters.
Yeah, I'm a cog in the machine, so I have to take the bait, and then complain about how they ruined the characters and everything, or they just don't have any. Like, it's a very inconsequential cameo, which knowing Toei, I wouldn't be surprised at. Yeah.
Okay, I'm thinking of watching a few things this season. I mean, for one thing, there's the Fate Extra anime, which I'm definitely not missing.
Oh yeah, we're definitely going to be going through anime season stuff. I haven't really been watching anything, but like we're definitely going to be going through kind of like the seasonal chart, because that's like the most obvious place to go with this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'll probably actually load up the seasonal chart and go for every single thing one by one, and have 90% of it be us go meh.
Yeah, I mean, one reason why I want to just watch a few things outside of Fate Extra is because otherwise, with just the way things are coming out, I in regards to like videos that are kind of anime orientated, I would probably just mostly have Fate videos, because there's of course doing the Apocrypha videos, because that just ended recently, but then there's the new cooking anime, which I'm probably going to make a video about if I watch it and I feel it's worth making a video on, because it might have that potential.
Yeah.
Then there's like the Fake Laid movie that will be available within the next couple of months, because the Blu-ray is coming out, and I've heard from that even from people who don't like Prisma Ilia, which it's a movie of, they say like this is actually one of the best installments in the entire franchise. So I'm definitely watching it. And inevitably making a video on it. And then the Heaven's Feel movie is going to get its Blu-ray release before too long. I'm going to be doing a video on that. So I want to actually watch some other kind of relatively relevant anime, just to kind of, if anything, just to break it up a bit.
I get that problem a lot of feeling like I keep putting out similar content about similar things, like kind of shaking things up for the sake of it. Unfortunately, everything in this season's monthly chart or whatever looks like trash.
Yeah, I mean that is often the case because I do tend to look. Even I usually do.
Yeah.
I'll end up watching 1 or 2 shows in a season at most. 3 of them feeling particularly crazy, but I want to change that a bit.
Yeah, I definitely don't like the idea of forcing myself to watch fucking everything. May or may not be referencing certain other people here, subtly. Gimmick.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'd rather just take a look at the things that look they're broadly somewhat interesting, even if it's just a genre or a character design on the poster or something like that. Unfortunately, and this is an anime trope that's very divisive, most of the posters and stuff for the anime are just cute girls and nothing but that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm in the mood for people hitting each other, and it doesn't look like there's much of that this season, which is a shame. Oh well, I mean, I don't hate like the cute girl stuff. If like every once in a while, like if it's a really good one, I still need to get around to watching Kobayashi.
It's so good.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's like I don't love the genre, but like once in a while,
neither do I.
Yeah, like there'll be a good one that's worth watching, and I'm like, well, I'll watch the good one then.
Check out my video on it. Plug here.
Like, subscribe, comment.
Could probably actually put up a card or something at this point, and it will have the video there.
Yes.
Or can you only put that here? Oh wait, no, because you can. Oh yeah, there's the other.
You can have like the corner ones.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, those are weird, and they're like it's weird because they're barely noticeable. So
yeah, because I did that for my second payday video when I mentioned I had made the first one. I put it there, and I was like, people aren't going to click on that.
Yeah, exactly. It's dumb. If only we had a better thing, like annotations, but nope, don't have those.
I mean, that's the thing. They could have just modernized annotations. There was no need to just get rid of them because they had a certain utility that currently we don't have anymore. We need something to fill that gap.
Yeah, they're very much trying to limit you.
Because annotations were admittedly a bit outdated in their design, but they could have just updated them. It's not too difficult.
Yeah, exactly. They could have made them look more streamlined or epic and customizable, or something.
Yeah.
They were definitely salvageable. I don't know why they had to ditch like one of the biggest features of the entire website.
It's almost as if they're taking control away from the content creator.
Wow.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, so I guess we're gonna get. I haven't been watching much this anime season. Ruby doesn't really count because. Yep, that's got 1 episode left. That's gonna air tomorrow, I think. Ooh. So, and I have some strongly worded things to say about that.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, that's gonna get its own video, obviously. I'm gonna probably make a video about like volume 4 and 5 and how volume 4 sets up some cool character arc stuff, and then volume 5 in the beginning half is like, okay, yeah, we're actually getting some exposition and people talking out, which is rare for Ruby. And then the last half of the volume is what the fuck. Hey, you know how we spent like multiple volumes saying up these really interesting things? Yeah, they're inconsequential now because we just kind of got rid of them in the most disappointing way ever. It doesn't really. Everyone says like, oh, I really like Game of Thrones and these kinds of things because any character could die at any time, and I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate it. Feels like such a dumb gimmick. It's like you sacrificed like this character's arc or whatever just to have a cheap, shocking moment for reacting YouTubers.
Well, that's one thing I really appreciate about Fate Stay Night. Because you have the 3 different routes, it's like, okay, certain characters are going to get shafted in different routes, but everyone's going to have their time to shine in at least one route. So it gives you that flexibility while still letting everybody have their moment.
Yeah, video games do give you that like leniency where they can play around with that kind of thing. but in TV or whatever, where it spends forever like setting up this character and making you like the character and being like, oh, they've got a character arc or whatever. No, fuck you, go away.
Yeah.
We're gonna just change everything just for the sake of this one shocking moment or whatever. And they do it a few times in the last few episodes of Volume 5. And like one of the villain, you know, the one in like Volume 4 that looked kind of like JonTron, like he's kind of cool because like they set him up as interesting because they're like, oh, I don't want to fight people, I'm just like doing this for vague reasons. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting because like fights and stuff will break out and you're like kind of refuse to fight and you're like trying to stop the fighting, and when one of the villains goes too far he gets mad at them. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting, I want to see why he's siding with Salem then. And then his entire motivation is, I don't like Ozpin because my sister died and I think it's Ozpin's fault and now I'm gonna punch people.
Wow.
And yeah,
what a character arc.
So and his semblance is dumb too. His semblance is that he can take dust crystals and just like push them into his arms and he'll turn into the Hulk.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, okay. And then he just punches people. And then Nora, he punches people, but because he's got dust in his veins, he can like use the dust stuff with his arms. And so he punches Nora with electricity, and then it's like, what's the one thing that Nora can do? Oh yeah, she can absorb electricity to get more powerful, and that fight ends exactly as you expect it to.
Oh yeah.
It's bad. It
doesn't sound good.
It's very bad. They like there are a few action scenes, and like, of course Monty died, so it's like, oh, they can only do so much with action scenes. And early on in Volume 5 they have this one action scene that's actually pretty damn good, because instead of just being an outright fight, it's more of a set piece where it's like, oh, we're on this like airship carrier thing and there's like this Grim that can fly. It's similar to Volume 4 how they had the boat fight, except interesting because you have to take into account like the actual person fighting, but then also them moving around the ship and stuff to avoid obstacles. It's like, oh, that's somewhat interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
Then later on, they have like 1v1 fights and stuff, and oh my god, they are like the hottest garbage I've ever seen in my entire life. Every like they'll do the thing where there's multiple characters, and then like it cuts to two of the characters fighting, and then every other character around will just be like sitting around doing nothing until it cuts to them. You know, like
I hate that kind of thing. So irritating.
It's so bad, like, and it takes it to the upper extreme. Like so much so that these like so-called shocking moments and random XD reaction channels going, oh, I can't believe it, and getting 50 billion views. And I am talking about one in specific, a Ruby reaction channel, and I'm not going to name him because I don't want to start dumb drama because he's multiple times on Facebook. And he gets so many fucking views. And they kind of pander to that, and it feels even worse when the action isn't even well done. So it's like, it just really does come out of nowhere. It's really stupid, and they have a really dumb twist at the end about like, all I'm gonna say is the identity of one of the maidens, where it's like, oh, we wanted you to think it's this person, but it's not. And I'm like, I saw that coming from fucking 5 years ago. Holy shit. And well, not literally 5 years ago, but like the second they set it up, I was like, oh, that person's the real maiden, isn't it? Yeah. And yeah, she is. And they literally have a bit where a character he gets literally backstabbed, and Cinder says, "Nothing personal, dear." And I'm like,
oh no,
is this supposed to be like a satire of itself, or I just it's so stupid. And they had something interesting going, because it was like people were talking about things and like things were happening, and characters like had feelings and emotions and were doing things, and then they resort to the most dumb shit ever. And it's like the people that were complaining that Volume 5 didn't have enough action, it's like, are you happy now? Are you happy? This is turning back into Volume 2 again. Oh, and they also fucking retroactively make one thing, the dumb love triangle from Volume 2 in porn again. I can't believe they did that.
To think Volume 2 could have any relevancy.
It's a fucking train wreck, and it always happens. Like I always spend a certain amount of time going, you know what, Ruby's good. You know, I went back and rewatched Volume 1 to 4 with you, and I was like, there's a lot of good shit here. You know, maybe I should lighten up on it. And then Volume 5 started, I'm like, Volume 5's pretty decent too. Maybe I should lighten up on it. And then they just, without fail, every time I get in that mindset, a series of episodes will happen that will just make me want to tear my eyes out, and I'm like,
you can't keep getting away with it.
I'm not going to go as far as to say fire your writers, but I am going to say consider handing one of your most successful IPs to someone that can write. Because goddamn, this is very bad, and this is just me kind of being vague and talking about a couple of plot points in the actual video. All gloves are coming off, and I'm talking about very specific things that piss me the heck off. Spoilers: one of them has something to do with Jean.
Everybody's favorite.
It's a very bad volume. As for other things I've been watching, I guess, because, geez, spent a lot of time on that one thing. I watched, and this is definitely one you've heard of. I don't know if you've seen it. Right. It's called Team Epic.
Yeah, I heard of it. I haven't watched it.
Yeah, it's that one with those two characters, and you see the characters, you're like, oh, I know exactly what that is.
Oh, yeah, I know the exact one you're talking about.
Yep, it's basically shitpost the anime, as most people call it. And it's good.
Yeah.
I don't think it's amazing, but it's good.
Because, of course, what is it, a manga, or was it like a 4-panel?
It was a 4-panel comic, and they adapted exactly, and it shows. There's no, there'll just be like a 10-second skit, and then it'll cut, and then there'll be another 10 or so second skit, and then another cut, and another 10 and I was like, oh, this is probably going to be one of those anime where there's like, I don't know, a 5-minute long episode at most, or something like that, for each episode. No, I started watching it and it was like 24 minutes, and I was like, what? And then it turned out to only be half that. It turned out to only be like 12 minutes because of the weirdest inside joke gimmick in the world. So there's, in one of the comics in the manga, they make a joke about how if they were like, oh, if we got an anime, we'd want to be voiced by, and then they insert like these two really old, like really well known and revered male voice actors, because get it, they're girls and they're being voiced by dudes. And so there's two versions of each episode, one where they're voiced by those voice actors that they mentioned in the manga, and then another where they're voiced by more like generic female actors. And well, first of all, if you're not watching it with the male voice actors, then what are you doing? That's the true experience. Like that'd be like, I don't know, insert other thing here, you know, that'd be like watching other thing with other thing. I don't know, I'm not going to come up with examples on the spot, but you know, it's like the true experience. You know, you can't you can't watch it without that, because that's the way they intended. That's part of the manga. Like, but that means that half the episode is just the exact same thing again, including the opening and ending theme.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So even then, it's still kind of fillery.
It's a really weird choice, and it kind of seems like the thing that would get old very, very quickly.
Yeah, and yeah.
I mean, because I've seen it, you know, posted on like anime meme pages on Facebook for like a couple of years now, and I've been aware of it for quite some time, and it never struck me as something I would really like, because it all hinges on whether or not the comedy is your thing, and from everything I've seen of it, doesn't really seem like it's my thing.
It's hit and miss.
Yeah.
There are some that like, oh, that's quite funny. And the best joke, right? The best joke in the anime is that it has too much of a budget, right?
Okay. That's
the best joke. Because it's like, oh, look at this dumb 4-panel comic with like kind of iffy drawing. I mean, I don't hate the art style, but like, you know, it's like intentionally like similar to the original One Punch Man manga, where it's like, oh, it's kind of iffy and funny. And so they take this and they give it like an actual anime budget, and the people making it actually try.
Yeah.
So they do a bunch of weird shit with the budget, and that's the best part of the anime. However, I've seen other things recently do that better. Amazing World of Gumball is a cartoon that also takes that joke of having too much budget and does it way better.
Is that still going?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I haven't caught up with it, but I'm pretty sure it's still... I'm fairly certain it's close to ending, because...
Yeah, because I thought I heard something about that, so I wasn't sure if it was still a thing.
Yeah. I'll look it up later. But, you know, Cartoon Network's going to be consumed by Teen Titans Go, which is now getting a film, because of course it is. And I saw the trailer to the film, and almost the entire trailer consists of one fart joke. So
my favourite.
Yeah. I was like, you know what, I'm going to watch this trailer and just kind of, with no preconceptions of what I know about the show, and just judge this film trailer on its own, and it's a fart joke. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. But yeah, so the best joke is that it has too much budget, and they do some really crazy stuff with that. There's this one where there's this one really good one where it basically is this animatic to like a Sword Art Online style, like Trapped in an MMO thing, where it has like the OC protagonist like fighting a dragon or some shit, and then the Pop Team Epic characters drop in and are fully animated and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, why isn't this fully animated? It's almost like we ran out of a budget. And then all of the other characters around them like get pissed off at them, like, what are you doing? This is a different anime. And then it cuts to a live action video of the voice booth of the voice actors getting pissed off and leaving, and there's just like one that like is sitting in the corner crying or whatever. And then they Photoshop like the villain from Do-On the Grudge like underneath one of the benches, and it slowly zooms in on it and everything. And I'm like, that's kind of clever, like in context. Like that's kind of fun. Another decent joke is how the first episode starts. It starts with like the most... It basically does the fake out thing where it's like, oh, this is an idol harem anime or whatever. And it goes really far with the joke. Okay. It goes so far with that joke that I'm fairly certain every single person that watched it like thought that they clicked on the wrong anime. Because it goes on for a very long time, and in one hand it's like jokes like this probably shouldn't go on for too long because it's like it's a joke, you know, don't stretch it out too much. But at the same time, them stretching it out made it more of a believable fake out, because it's like 40 seconds or so of like this the beginning of the anime, like, oh, where are your parents, and we're gonna move out and you better get a girlfriend or whatever while we're gone. And it's like generic like brown head protagonist going, oh, I'm lazy and everything. And then it cuts to the opening theme, and they do an entire completely original opening theme about this like idol character or whatever and everything, and they make it look like the most generic thing ever. And then after that, the actual show starts for a few seconds, and then finally the Pop Team Epic characters like tear open the thing and make a joke about how bad modern anime is or whatever.
It's a very intricate joke there.
Yeah, exactly. But the fact that it goes on for so long was kind of funny.
Yeah.
If it was like 10 seconds or whatever, and then, or like, I feel like it's just the fact that they made an entirely original opening theme just for this one joke that made it funny. Another thing that was quite funny is instead of having the next episode preview, it went back to that anime again and had the next episode preview for that anime. And I'm like, I like the commitment. Of course, in the second episode, they never bring it up, but you know, that was pretty decent. Like, of course, online I've seen so many people go, I want to see the actual, like, I want to see that anime now. And I'm like, but the joke was that anime is shit, though. You're an idiot.
It's a sorry reflection on the audience.
Yeah. But other than that, the jokes are hit and miss. There's one that's really funny where, like, it's a recreation of the opening cutscene of Skyrim. You've no doubt seen, like, an image of that or something on Twitter or something. That one was funny. I was like, because someone said, like, oh, Todd finally released Skyrim on Japanese cable. And I'm like, that's... However, that joke really does only go on for, like, 2 seconds. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine if you're just in the mood for a couple of decent jokes and you want to pull on someone for a couple minutes, but it's nothing grander than that.
No.
People keep going on about, oh, it saves anime, because that's a joke that doesn't keep getting repeated every single anime season, no matter what it is.
Yeah. Well, the worrying thing is a lot of people are sincere when they say that.
Oh, yeah.
They genuinely mean it's saving industry. It's like, okay, if you say so.
Yeah, the second an anime that's even vaguely self-aware comes out, they're like, oh, it's saving anime. It's self-aware.
The second it's something even slightly different from most of what you get, it's only saving the industry, which doesn't make
it's got
much
decent
sense.
animation and character designs. It's saving the industry. Like, I didn't understand that with Kill la Kill as well, because Kill la Kill was like the first big, well, to my memory, it was the first big one with that joke. And it's like, Kill la Kill hasn't done anything that any other anime hasn't. Like, it's good, but like, it's made by the people that made Gurren Lagann, and Gurren Lagann existed before that. So if anything would have saved anime, it would have been Gurren Lagann. Like, Kill la Kill is just more of that kind of thing. Like, it doesn't break new ground or anything. It's just a decent. It's just a good anime. I don't know.
It's weird.
People gotta make the joke because it's funny.
People need their fix of it.
Yep. Hey, if we keep repeating a joke over and over again, it'll get funny. All right. The Ugandan Knuckles thing is already gotten old.
Yeah.
About a week ago, I was like, I like this meme. It's a good meme, and just it. Like I went into denial. I was like, no, it's still funny. Damn it, I like it. And I'm like, no, it's not.
Stages of grief.
Yeah, memes get killed. That's basically all I've seen from anime. So I really haven't been watching much. I saw 2 episodes of a 12-minute anime, and then Ruby, which is a web series. So I guess it's now your turn to kind of go through the stuff that caught your interest.
Okay, for one thing, I've not been watching anything that's been airing since Fate Apocrypha, and that was like was that? No, that wasn't technically last year. That was like the very beginning of this year it ended, so like half a month ago. Since then, I think I watched like 1 episode of Toradora, and that's literally all I've seen anime-wise recently. Because I've mostly just been watching clips of Hell's Kitchen on YouTube.
Hell's Kitchen's pretty good.
It is pretty good, yeah. I don't know how it ends up in people's recommendations all the time.
Oh yeah, same thing happens to me all fucking time. I always get like random clips from random shows and stuff. And like it gets to the point where I watch so many of those clips that I'm like, you know what, I should just rewatch the show. But then I'm like, you know what, I've already rewatched so many clips that there's no point in rewatching the show because I've already rewatched all the good bits recently. So it's like it's the conflict. But yeah, Hell's Kitchen is the best anime. Haha, forced joke, XD.
Yeah.
Lenny face.
Yeah, but yeah, so literally this whole month almost, all I've seen is an episode of Toradora, and that's it. But like I said, I will probably end up watching some seasonals, probably a bit later in the month, and then until the end, I guess.
Yep. If you want, here's my YouTuber pro tip. You watch all of Pop Team Epic. That's this ad so far, and then you take a photo of yourself making a really like big gasping face, and then you Photoshop that in the corner of the thumbnail, and then you put like the most memey screenshot you can find from the first couple episodes, and then you put that in, and then you like surround it with a bunch of other like cropped screenshots and stuff, and then you put a red circle in like any place in the thumbnail, and then the title is in all caps, saving the anime industry, ! XD, and then that's it. You get lots of views.
Yeah, I've seen far too many of them in my recommended. It's not even funny.
Haha, it's a meme, XD. Haha, I like memes and I like anime, and haha, funny.
Same.
Oh boy. Hey Asterisk, maybe you should just let people have fun every once in a while. I don't understand why you have to be so elitist about everything. Even though in the second you say that you enjoy this video game, we're gonna fucking berate you for enjoying a thing because it's not the correct thing to enjoy.
Yeah, I see that. I get that kind of thing a lot as well.
Yeah,
Like, you're too cynical, and then I'm like not cynical about one thing. It's like, oh, you're being too generous with this thing, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can't win.
oh yeah, I got called an apologist for Sonic Forces.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, some of the stuff I've seen you get is way worse than anything I've gotten.
Oh yeah, and even then, like the stuff that I get, it's like I don't even care. It's like
No.
because it's so like exaggerated.
Yeah.
Like the comments they give are like so like you should have got aborted. It's like the second you say someone like that, I'm just not. I'm gonna completely disregard everything else you say. You know, like
Yeah. There's certain things
like
you do, and you've already lost the argument.
yeah, it's like like when someone like disagrees with me, I'm like, fine, fair enough.
Yeah.
Like I don't agree with you, but whatever, different opinions.
Mm.
But then when people start like insulting me and my other subscribers, I'm like, dude, stop.
Yeah.
Just like I enjoyed a game.
Mm.
Really, like is that what
Yeah,
it's
you're
come down-
literally Hitler. You enjoyed a game.
like,
Enjoyed the wrong one.
I sat down and I bought a game with money. I didn't even pirate it, and I played it and I enjoyed it. And then I made a video saying that I enjoyed it. And then people were like, "You're literally Hitler," and I'm like, "What? Excuse me?"
Never change,
Oh,
internet. Never change. Especially in
Yeah,
the comment sections.
Yeah, imagine what'll happen if I eventually get around to doing more negative videos. Ruby. Yeah, that Ruby Volume 4 and 5 comment section is probably going to be brutal when that exists, so that's going to be fun. Yeah. I feel like now we should be segueing into my Nintendo Direct, because that dropped out of nowhere.
It did,
Yeah, it was only 15 minutes. Have you seen it? I assume you've either seen it or heard most of the things from it.
I've seen what it consisted of. I don't watch the direct itself.
Yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, it started. It was only 15 minutes, and I was like, okay, fair enough. Started off with World Ends With You, and I'm like, that's a pretty good Nintendo DS game. I remember liking. I didn't finish it for whatever reason. I think I might be borrowing the copy off of someone. I don't know, but like I didn't finish it. I got like a few decent hours into it, and was like, oh, this is a fun concept. I'll eventually get back to it one day. And then so they're having a Switch port. You're gonna be one of those weird ports where it's like, oh, we're gonna add like a bunch more like story content, and I still not the biggest fan of that, because it's like, fuck you if you bought the original. Like more gameplay content, I get, but like story, it's like, haha, you don't know how this thing ends unless you buy the game again. It's like, oh, okay. Like if you're gonna do that with the remaster, surely you should release some kind of like DLC or whatever for the original, so that people that have the original don't have to buy the entire game again, which, I mean, in this example doesn't make sense because it's a Nintendo DS game, so how are you going to do that? But like in other contexts, like Catherine, I don't see why they wouldn't be able to just have the extra character or whatever be DLC, unless they really are just like rearranging the entire story around that one thing, which with Catherine is kind of understandable.
Yeah, and it's probably also not very lucrative if they did do it, given how like Catherine is on systems that are fairly obsolete.
Yeah,
and it's like releasing a DLC for that, I can't imagine they'd make much from that.
Yeah, it's just a difficult situation, because it's like we all want more content, but no one, unless they're like really big fans of the thing, no one really wants to buy the game again, unless it's for like the Switch or something, where it's like, oh, but now it's handheld. But like, you know, buying a game that you've had for like your Xbox 360 for like 6 years or so, and then re-buying it for like the same price on another console just to get basically the same game with some extra stuff is like, I mean, I guess there's no real great way around it, but it all the same.
Todd
like,
Howard told me to do it though.
Yeah, and even then, like Skyrim's not like that bad an example, because again, they usually only add like gameplay stuff. They don't even like Bethesda are lazy. They're not gonna add like more story stuff. I mean, if they are, it's gonna be DLC. But They're not going to have it so if you play the VR version, you get a bunch of extra like missions and stuff. They're just not going to do that. Insert comment about actually, I think you'll find there's these 2 fetch quests that are only in the VR. Cool, fine, cool, epic. But I mean, like actual story stuff. Which, to be fair, Skyrim's story consists of you wake up as a prisoner, you escape, you kill a dragon, and then you learn some spells, and then that's it. That's the entire story, from what I'm aware. So.
I think you put a bit of Oblivion in there, but yeah, more or less.
Oh, cool. I mean,
you're creating fan fiction.
Yeah, because they both start with you being a prisoner, don't they? Shit.
Yeah.
Bethesda aren't very good at beginning their games, are they?
Yeah.
And guess what? We're gonna start this Fallout game with you waking up in a vault, or whatever, like, and then escaping the vault to see the thing for the first time. And then the one game made by Obsidian is the one where you just kind of wake up in an ordinary house.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only time they didn't really do that kind of thing was the one that Bethesda didn't even make.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I really hope that Bethesda let Obsidian make another Fallout or something.
Please do. New Vegas is so good.
Yeah. I would have actually gotten around to starting New Vegas by now if my computer hadn't broken.
Oh, yeah, excuses, blah, blah, blah.
The computer broke, right, like, a day after I finished Fallout 4.
There's some timing.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, when I do get a new computer, I don't need to, like, reinstall Fallout 4 for a while, because I've completed it, and I don't really feel too much of an incentive to go back to it.
No.
I guess I'm going to kind of go into... So, important thing to note, Fallout 4 is my introduction to the franchise. So I'm going to be a bit more lenient on it because I understand that it's one of those things where it's like comparatively, like on its own, it's a good, decent game. But like if it's something you played right after playing New Vegas, it's like it's not a very good game. So I'm going to be lenient. How dare he enjoy a game? But overall, I liked Fallout 4. It had a lot of flaws. Like, it was a Bethesda game. Throughout so I think it took me like 80, 90 hours ish. I did a lot of the side stuff though. So the main quest was like, it was one of those things where by the time I got around to like finishing the main quest, I was ridiculously overpowered. Because of course I was. Like, I managed to mow down a bunch of people. The role playing was very linear. It's like you can only really role playing as the character. You can only really do this kind of stuff, which is a shame because it's a role playing game. Yeah. So it's like you kind of want to be able to create your character, and like make up your own OC backstory for him and everything.
Yeah, there's kind of a conflict there between having a game that in a lot of ways would really warrant that kind of approach, but at the same time there's the conflict with them wanting to impose a structure on top of that, and a fairly rigid one as well.
Yeah, because like the game literally opens up with you and a family, and it's like, well, so now your character has to be the sort of person that would have gotten married and would have got a kid, and would have wanted to just settle down. They even give backstories to them. They openly mention that the dude character, because of course you can choose which of the two characters you want to play as, because that just like switches your gender. So you can play as the wife or the husband. I played as the wife. But like they mentioned before the bomb drops and everything that the husband was in the army and he served in a war and stuff, and so that's why he's really good at using weapons and stuff. And like you can walk around the house and like if you open one of the closets, you see a bunch of like old like army related stuff, and like your character will say, "I'm glad you came back from the war alive" or whatever. And I'm like, subtle, Todd, subtle. Yeah, and I think the wife was like a lawyer or something along those lines. So like basically the dude is supposed to be the brute force character, and then if you want to like talk your way out of stuff, you're supposed to go as the girl, but that doesn't make sense because you get to assign the points and stuff yourself. So it's very, very inconsistent in that regard, and the entire game is kind of like that. Especially considering I'm fully aware that like the talking stuff is really, really linear in Fallout 4. So here's how you win Fallout 4. You put all your points into charisma. You want all the charisma perks, and then you just persuade everyone to stop attacking you, and then that's it. You win the game.
I mean, those kind of strategies they were things that could work in other Fallout games. I mean, namely 3. New Vegas avoided that somewhat by making it so that particular traits would aid you better in different routes, because the story would diverge quite heavily. And within those divergences there would be different endings. So even if you were completely overpowered in one aspect, you couldn't carry yourself like that throughout each route. It would force you to diversify a bit depending on what you wanted to do.
Yeah, exactly. You have to adapt to your surroundings and everything in the other games. And no, in Fallout 4, you can basically pick one dominant strategy, and it will almost always work. And they give you so many XP points and stuff that you can level up almost all your charisma stuff, and also get a decent amount of stim packs, fully heal you, and they do it really quick, and so on. And so even if you do need to get in fights and stuff, it's you don't have you can still survive. You basically become a bullet sponge at the end.
That is one thing about Fallout. It's a lot easier to level, generally speaking, in Fallout games than Elder Scrolls.
Yeah,
even Skyrim, because by the end, it would take so long to grind for specific abilities, and I've never once had that kind of problem in Fallout. But as a result, you become very overpowered very quickly, and there is going to be some late game stuff that will challenge that, but you have to go a bit out of your way.
There are missions and stuff you can do post game that are a lot more challenging. But so that's the thing for me. The appeal of Fallout, first of all, is the role playing, going around dressing your character up. I liked being able to I intentionally limited myself, even though it was my first playthrough, because I played as a character because they were from from before the war even. So they were the person out of time. There's a bunch of armor dudes and stuff everywhere, but I'm not one of those people, so I'm just gonna walk around with normal ass clothes and stuff and everything. And that's why she's the charisma character, because she just talks away out of everything as they're having a fight. So it fits a character, and she collects Nuka-Cola merch and everything. She had a Nuka-Cola vending machine in her house and a bunch of other stuff. I was playing a very kind of set character, and I kind of gave my character a character arc throughout the game. It's very difficult with that game. Though she changed. I did the very kind of subtle. Over time, she does become more brutal and adapts to the environment more and stuff. She takes advantage of the Brotherhood of Steel and gets a bunch of armor and stuff. She basically becomes a racist at the end and becomes the bad guy, because I thought that would be fun and interesting. Because of course the big bad is the Institute and everything, and you find your son and everything, and he's I'm from the Institute and I'm making robots, and then I basically made it so that my character was but what about Terminator? And so the game ended with me building the giant robot from the third game, because I know how the third game ends, and the ending I got for Fallout 4 looked almost exactly like the ending from Fallout 3. Where you build the giant robot and then follow it over to the Institute, and then I just went down and killed all the people in the Institute, and then my dad died. And then it does end with you blowing up quite a big part of the Commonwealth, so it's wait, the premise of this game was finding your son, and the premise of Fallout 3... Todd, do you just have one story that you keep recycling? Because we already mentioned how Oblivion and Skyrim story are fairly similar as well, so maybe you should get a different writer or something, because I'm fully aware there are different endings to Fallout 4, and I look into them, and they're all fairly generic. It's all the endings basically involve you siding with one of the factions and taking out most of the other factions. So it's if you want to side with the Institute, you have to go and infiltrate the Brotherhood, and if you want to join the Brotherhood, you have to take out the Institute, and if you want to join the Railroad, you have to go and save all of the synths from the Institute and everything. And the Minutemen is the lawful good, most generic, we're gonna build the city again or whatever, and I'm that's boring. I want to infiltrate and take advantage of people and kill people and just like to talk to people so much that are like, oh, the robots are evil and we're racist and we're doing things good because people always get killed by the Sims, and then at the end like mowing down all the Sims and realizing, wait, how many people did the Sims kill? That doesn't matter, I'm killing them anyway. Like I like that kind of character where by the end I'm like, yeah, I'm the bad guy, but
too invested now, gotta double down.
Yeah, exactly, and that's like what the character arc was. It's like even when I first left, I kind of set my character the rule of like, it's the post-apocalypse. I'm still trying to be like somewhat like a neutral good, but I am gonna do certain like it's the post-apocalypse. No one's gonna mind if I break a couple of laws here and there. Nothing. No one's gonna care if I pickpocket this guy or if I steal this stuff. Like going into someone's house and like going into one of the rooms and closing the door and then just stealing everything totally works, which is weird because they counted that in Skyrim more, because in Skyrim if you went to a different room or whatever, the person would follow you and look at you, whereas in Fallout 4 they just kind of got rid of that, so it's like they're always in that one set spot or whatever, so you can just crouch behind anything and just steal all their stuff and they won't notice.
To be fair, the counter in Skyrim would be you'd put a basket over their head.
Yeah. Another problem with the game is because it tries doing the multiple ending things, it doesn't have an ending. It really masks, because it's one of those games, right, where it's like, oh, you can play this game forever, and it kind of puts an emphasis on like, oh, it has procedurally generated quests, and you know exactly which ones are procedurally generated and not, just by like, before you even start it, because all the procedurally generated ones will be, go to this area, kill all the enemies that spawned, pick up this item and bring it back to me, even though it's places you've already been to, but now there's different people there, and so I avoided most of those, and I tried to like do all the good shit, which in Fallout 4 most of the quests weren't really the good shit. Like there's one somewhat interesting one where there's like this giant like airship that crashed that's full of robots, and they're like, oh, it's broken, we need to do these quests and stuff to get parts to fix it again, and the quest itself was like pretty meh, but it ended with like a bunch of raiders trying to like board the ship, and like you had a sniping section where you could like kill them more than it's like a tower defense thing. I'm like, oh, that's kind of for Fallout 4, that's variety. And then after that, you turn the ship on and it actually flies and then crashes into a different building, and that was one of my favorite moments in Fallout 4 because it's just to have this bigger world and everything, and then to have this quest actually affect the environment by destroying an actual place in the world. I'm like, that's interesting. If they did that more often, this would be a really like special game. But they don't. It's only like a couple of quests. It's like the end of the main quest and then that one other quest, and there's maybe another. But yeah, if it was like nothing but that, it was like the world is constantly changing depending on what you do. But no, the world for the most part stays the same no matter what quest you do, because again, most of the quests are just go to this place and pick up this thing and bring it back to me, and then because it has a very obvious like gameplay loop to it, but it's a fun loop. And because of that, near the beginning of the game was my favorite part, because that was when it was like difficult. That was me like figuring shit out. And I had barely any supplies, so I had to ration things out and think and strategize, and I'd like get out of places barely alive, and I'd go back and sell the stuff, and like, oh, I ran across a set of power armor. That's really special and cool. That felt rewarding. And then by the end of the game, it's like I would go into a place, I wouldn't even like bother hiding behind cover or healing myself. I would just sit there and get my minigun or whatever out and just mow everyone down.
Yeah, and the scaling is not the best, generally speaking. Oh,
I'll find another set of power armor, I'll add that to the other like 15 I have. Like, it gets to the point where it's like, why even play anymore, because I've already got all the cool shit. Like when I got the jetpack near the end, I was like, yeah, there's nothing else to get now. Like the jetpack feels very kind of like the final cool thing that I haven't gotten yet. And yeah, the it's like they have the fight. Like I went into the institute and everything, and then we blew up the institute, and then everyone in the brotherhood were like, "Well, proud of you, you did good." and then it plays like a cutscene of the character. Basically, it's almost exactly like the first cutscene in the game, which is like that war never changes one, and so it's like, generic, like, I'm talking about things that aren't relevant because the ending is supposed to be open-ended, like, and this has to be relevant to all of them, so I'm just talking about a bunch of generic things about, I adapted in the wasteland, and then after that, the game resumes, and I'm like, well, where's the end credits? And it's like, why would we put end credits in? Most normies won't notice that this is the actual end of the game if we don't put end credits in, like, you want them to keep playing forever, so we're just not going to put them in and hope no one realizes. And I'm like, I'm not done. I'm not that dumb. I know this is where it actually ends. And sure enough, I did play for quite a few hours after that, and nothing of importance happened. So yeah, that was just the procedurally generated stuff from that point on. Yeah, and I had explored like a really big part of the map too. I don't think there was like too many places, like interesting places I missed out on or anything. Like I like most of that map was completely full of like places to fast travel to and everything. And by the end of the game, because I fully leveled up my like inventory space. I had a really big inventory, but even by the end of the game, it was like constantly I couldn't even afford to pick things up anymore because I had so much shit at all times, and a lot of the time it wouldn't even be worth selling them because I already had like 30,000 caps or something ridiculous like that. I had so many caps.
All of the Bethesda games have that problem.
Yeah, exactly. The one thing I appreciate about the Brotherhood storyline is that it ends with you getting promoted, but you don't become the leader.
Okay.
Because that's the most annoying thing in Bethesda games, where anytime you join any kind of like faction or anything, they immediately make you the leader, but then don't actually let you do anything interesting with being the leader.
Yeah, it's annoying because the thing is that you could do a lot with that leader position. But the main problem is they're always too separated. You don't have. I mean, sometimes to some extent you'll get your position in one of the guilds or whatever, or factions. Sometimes that will influence some of the story a little bit, but never enough.
Yeah, because the most egregious example is with Preston Garvey and the Minutemen, where you literally, like, the first main quest is that you go to this place and Preston and the others are like stuck at the top of this church and you had to go in and like save them, and they give you a fully armored piece of power armor and a minigun, and it's like, why are you giving me this in the first quest? Fuck you. They really need to make it so that you earn your first power armor set. They really need to, like, just giving you it was garbage. I hated that. And then you fight a Deathclaw, and they make the Deathclaws look like a joke because you've got a power armor and a minigun. And then after that, when I saw Deathclaws and stuff, I was like, oh, this is going to be easy. And then I got immediately decimated by them. But then after that, a few hours later, I got to the point where I was like fighting 2 Deathclaws at once without power armor and easily killing them. So, and I was playing on like the normal difficulty too. Like, I wasn't playing on easy. Right? Like, I was like, I'm gonna go for normal. I'm gonna go for Todd's intended experience. And it quickly became a joke. And Preston Garvey, like after the second mission, is like, "You're the leader of the Minutemen now." I'm like, "Okay, cool. I can like order these guys to do stuff, and like I can be like, oh, you go over here and do this thing and bring me back materials and stuff." No, because Preston still orders you around and tells you to do stuff even though you're the leader, and you don't get any benefits from being the leader. He just calls you the leader because it's a Bethesda game and he has to. It's really bad. They don't let you do anything as the leader, really. He gives you permission to do like the most menial chores for him, basically.
It's pretty dumb.
The crafting and the building, I didn't do that much. I very much kind of set up the bare minimum so that I could like store my stuff. I had like several different places in the map where I'd like have all my stuff as well, because like I had one of the truck stops to put all my power armor stuff in and everything. But then I also bought one of the homes in Diamond City, and I never really ended up doing anything with it. I was like, well, I need to get a home, and then I never really ended up like moving my stuff from the truck store to my home. So my home is just full of like a bunch of mannequins and stuff, like holding my other clothes, and we also got like a bed and a doghouse, and And also the dog is like the overpowered companion because all the other companions, like if you level up, I think it's your charisma or whatever, you get like the Lone Wanderer perk, which gives you a bunch of like stuff, like a bunch of benefits, like more health and a bigger inventory and so on and so forth. If you don't have a companion, for some reason, I think it must be intentional, but the dog doesn't count as a companion. So if you have the dog as your companion, then you still get the Lone Wanderer perks. And also, you can level up the dog as well and make the dog more powerful.
Jeez.
I got to the point where like like the generic raiders and stuff were being taken out in one hit by my dog.
That's pretty absurd.
And also, because of course, all the other companions have it so that like, or when you do something, it's like, oh, Preston liked that, or Preston hated that. And of course, if you get it so that they hate you so much, they'll eventually like start attacking you. And of course, it's the Bethesda game, so any even remotely important character is invincible for no reason.
Yeah.
So you have this invincible person just chasing after you and trying to kill you, and the dog doesn't give a shit. The dog never gives a shit. So if you don't have to worry about that really important part of gameplay if you have the dog with you. So yeah, the dog's overpowered. The dog is
break the game.
There's not much else to really say about Fallout 4. It's decent. I don't know if I would recommend it because I would need to like know more about. I need to like play New Vegas and Free. I don't think the first two are really relevant because they're such different games.
Yeah, they're a world of their own.
Just in terms of like, would I recommend this to a Fallout fan? I don't think Fallout 1 and 2 really matter because they're so different. But I'd have to play Free and New Vegas before I think about whether or not I'd recommend Fallout 4 and whether or not I'd recommend it as the first game, because I've heard people say like, oh, if you want to get into a franchise or whatever, it's usually best to start playing like the worst one so that it won't seem bad in comparison, and then it'll just like get better and better. Like I've seen a bunch of people go play Dark Souls 2 first because on its own Dark Souls 2 is a pretty good game. Yeah, exactly. On its own it's a pretty good game. It's just a bad game in comparison to other Dark Souls. So if you start with that one and then play the others, then you'll actually enjoy the franchise more. And I've heard the opposite said, like with if you play Bloodborne first, then you'll hate the franchise because nothing will ever live up to Bloodborne.
Right, yeah.
Everything will be a disappointment afterwards, which I think that must be a bit of an exaggeration. Like,
probably.
I'm sure the other games must have other stuff that they do well. Like, I don't think that Bloodborne is like by far the best one in every aspect, but I guess I wouldn't know because I don't have a PS4.
PS4.
But yeah, so
yeah, I mean, I very, very rarely, although it's the kind of thing you'll hear from like the Puritans, people recommending Demon Souls as the first one you play.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like Demon Souls is one you should play at least second, because I feel like that one's a bit too difficult to get into. I mean, again, this is me not knowing much about the franchise. I feel like Dark Souls 1 is a pretty decent starting point.
Because I think it's about, I think, striking a balance between accessibility but also like setting the bar as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a shame that we live in a day and age where that never means starting with the first one.
Yeah.
Franchises are all so damn like convoluted and weird that it's never, start with Persona 3, not 1 or 2, 3, and then play 4, 5, and then 1 and 2. That's the order almost everyone says to me, by the way. They're like, 3 is like, yeah, 3 is like a really good one with like the best story, but like the gameplay is unpolished and everything. And then 4 is like the opposite of that, where it's like it's really well made and everything, but the story doesn't really go anywhere. And then the 5th one's like a combination of both, so like it gets better as you go on. And then 1 and 2 are so different in terms of tone and gameplay, so then play 1 to like if you're a real fan, and then 2 is just a much, much, much better version of 1, basically, in terms of gameplay and everything. So you end up like starting with a really good one, and then Persona 5 in the middle is another really good one, and then Persona 2 is the best one at the end. So like you kind of balance it out well. It's really weird, but yeah, sure, play it in that order. I guess similar to how you'd start Star Wars with 4, I guess.
Yeah.
You go 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, and then you don't watch Rogue One.
you definitely skip that.
Because at least like 1, 2, and 3 are important.
Yeah, they actually do something.
Yeah, but Rogue One doesn't.
No.
But yeah, so
Here's us just going into more detail about this event you never really needed context for.
yeah, it's the problem with like Star Wars expanded universe in general. They just
Mm.
they take
Everything has to have a really convoluted
yeah
backstory for like no reason. That doesn't really add much in the grand scheme of things.
yeah it's so annoying. It's like why can't it just be a film?
Metachlorians.
Thing happen. Yeah,
Thanks, Liam Neeson.
no wonder your daughter was taken.
Damn.
See the passenger or whatever this January. That's the police film is in.
Oh,
The one-
apparently it's really bad.
Oh, that I don't doubt that.
No.
It's a Liam Neeson
make
action
money.
film that was released in January. Like, I
Yeah,
can't-
what do you expect?
yeah. But yeah. So going on to the Nintendo Direct again because we mentioned Warden's review and then completely segued into a bunch of other shit.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go back to the Nintendo Direct. They had a bunch of indie stuff, but I didn't really care about any of that. Some of it was good, I guess. Then they're basically continuing the trend of re-releasing every worthwhile Wii U game because now you've got like Hyrule Warriors like Game of the Year edition, which had like all the DLC and everything in it, which is fucking great because originally you'd have to buy both the Wii U and the 3DS version to get all the content in either.
Yeah, I always thought that was really stupid.
Yeah, because you had to buy the DS version and then put a code from the DS version into the Wii U version to unlock stuff or whatever. And that was really stupid, and I don't like that. I don't want to buy the game again for this piece of DLC. And I hope that the Switch version will be amazing if they don't release any more DLC. If it's a true like Game of the Year edition, this is all the content in one purchase. That's great.
I can't imagine they're going to give it DLC because I just don't see it as necessarily being worth it because it will sell, sure, but I don't think it will even necessarily kind of get. I mean, maybe it'll break the numbers of the Wii U version, but yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess it depends. But even if it does, I don't really see it as being a long-term investment for them. It's just
no one's really gonna get like hyped or anything or like excited for it. It's just gonna be, I'm gonna pick this up and play this old game from a few years ago and enjoy it. You know?
Yeah.
It's like they've already announced that there is gonna be Breath of the Wild stuff in it, but it is literally just like content in the base game in this version. You know, it's like you get it's Link with the blue tunic, and you get like Zelda with her Breath of the Wild clothes and everything. And I think that's it. And if that's in the base game and not DLC, which I'm pretty sure it is, then
you get
great.
a motorbike.
Oh boy. I mean, if anything, I wouldn't mind the motorbike so much in Hyrule Warriors because that's a non-canon spin-off. So.
Oh yeah, it fit way better in Hyrule Warriors, but no, you get it in the canonical game.
Yeah. But yeah. So they're also re-releasing Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
Yeah.
I've heard that game's good.
I've played a bit of it. It's fine.
Yeah, it always strikes me as similar to like the new Super Mario Bros. Games, where it's like it's a standard like 2D platformer, but it doesn't do anything too amazing. But it looks good. It's like if I
it's
found
perfectly
it for,
possible.
like, really cheap, like if I found it for like dirt cheap, I'd definitely play it. But I don't think I'd pre-order it or anything.
No, don't lose any sleep if you can't play it.
Yeah, and it's going to have a new playable character, which is basically, you know how Nintendo always has like built-in easy modes to their games now?
Yeah.
They have the new character who's basically invincible and can do anything, and cool. I'm not going to play as him, but cool, you know? I love that they put him on like the corner of the box saying, you can play this character now, because that's already become a meme.
I've seen that a lot, yeah.
Yep, so that's a good one. Then I guess we're just going to skip straight to the important one everyone cares about. They announced Dark Souls Remastered right after I bought the original.
Yeah. That was bad timing, but I guess that kind of thing happens, though.
Yeah,
With the amount of remakes and re-releases we get, you can't say I'm that surprised.
Yeah, I was expecting Demon Souls, because they recently shut down the servers for Demon Souls. So if they're going to remaster any of them, surely it would make more sense to be that one. But then again, I'm fairly certain Demon Souls has a lot of like weird rights issues and stuff with it anyway, which is why they moved from Demon Souls to Dark Souls in the first place.
The other thing too is that Demon Souls, there isn't really the brand recognition that Dark Souls has.
Yeah, exactly.
It's much less of a risk financially if they just re-release the games everybody already knows.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple years' time or so they do the same thing for Dark Souls 2, and then they go, "Oh, we fixed most of the problems you had with it by using a couple of lines of code to like barely address them." But
it'd be interesting if they did do that.
Yeah, like the entire marketing will just be, "We fixed it," when actually it really is just a straight up port.
Yeah.
Because that looks like that's what the Switch version of Dark Souls 1 is going to be. It's a straight up port. It's the Game of the Year edition. The frame rate's a bit better. And that's it, really. That's all this remastered is. It's not a ground up like remake or anything.
That's one thing that annoys me, because this happens every single time. People not knowing the difference between a remake and a remaster.
Yeah, if it was a remake, this would be a big deal, but it isn't. It literally just looks like a straight up port.
There isn't really any need to remake it, so like.
Yeah,
a remaster's fine. I mean, it's on a different system that can offer a different kind of playing experience. So, like, that's justification enough for me, really. Like, in regard to making a difference between something that is just a cheap kind of cash grab and something that and a remaster that's actually worthwhile.
Yeah, and it's also coming. And this was like this was a thing that was really stealthily announced, but it's also for PS4 and Xbox One as well.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize until much later. I thought it was just like a Nintendo Switch port of the game, but no, it's coming to PS4 and Xbox One as well, because why wouldn't it? You know?
Exactly.
Well, we're gonna get a shit ton more sales if we just do that, and it's probably not very difficult to port a Switch remaster of a game or whatever to the Xbox One and PS4. So fuck it, why not? So. I mean, hey, that's another game for the Xbox One, I guess.
Yeah. It needs one.
No, but the Xbox One has backwards compatibility now. I mean, but cool. I already have an original Xbox.
Yeah.
So that's not going to work for me.
No.
Although, one kind of interesting piece of news, I think they announced this at E3, but we got like a little bit more information about this now. In a few days' time, they are releasing an Xbox One controller that looks exactly like the original Xbox controller.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be $70, £50. And it's going to be wireless as well. Like, there's an optional wire you can plug in, but it is going to be wireless and it's going to work with PC and everything. And I'm like, it's a cool gimmick, like for nostalgia and stuff.
Yeah.
But
£50 a bit steep, though.
Yeah, it's not going to set the world on fire or anything. Like,
no.
It's a cool thing.
I mean, the prices that they charge for our controllers nowadays, mainly it is the Xbox One. It feels like extortion, really.
Oh, yeah. It's because they know it's like, we know that most PC players, like, the only Xbox thing a PC player is ever going to buy is our controller, so we're going to get all that money just from that one thing then.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because they're good controllers too. So it's like, fuck you have to pay up. But because like if you get one Xbox One or Xbox 360 controller, then that's it. You're set for like PC gaming and stuff. But
absolutely.
You gotta pay, and you gotta pay. I want the Minecraft one that has like the poke face on it, because that's the best looking controller I've ever seen. Seriously, some of them garbage. Like,
I like the one that's just the Minecraft dirt texture.
Yeah, I like.
Isn't that also what the console is?
Yeah, the console's like that too. Which, who would want that? I mean, a kid would, obviously. That's the answer. Like even the Cuphead one looked ugly, because the Cuphead one was like.
Yeah, how'd they manage that?
Yeah, like a completely yellow Xbox One and yellow controller
Mm.
with like the Cuphead logo on it and then like a picture of the main character in the corner.
Yeah, it's
Like that is
disgusting.
ugly.
Mm.
Like surely if you're gonna do that with Cuphead, you'd make it look like a really like old timey, like dirty, well fake dirt, obviously. Like you
Mm.
know, like in the
Yeah,
style.
but the dirt looks too dirty.
Yeah, like you know, like if they made it look like it was made of wood or something, you know,
Mm,
like
yeah.
and they had like a gramophone, like a an image of a record on the top of it or something, like you know, like that'd be cool. But no, it's yellow. Who in the world was like, yeah, I want a yellow games console.
Mm.
I want it to be bright yellow. 'Cause,
Obviously,
like,
they didn't get the game's art director to design the console and controller.
yeah, like because like everyone like the reason the default console color nowadays is black is because like everyone's TV and everything and like all that stuff is black. So like the
Yeah, it
consoles
fits
kind
with
of like,
everything.
blends in, you know,
Mm.
like and then if you want something a bit more fancy, you can.
Mm.
But then Xbox are like, yeah, you want the yellow Cuphead one, and if you want the Xbox One S, you have to get the ugly white one.
It's like that's not going to look good anywhere.
Yeah, and that's I mean, the Xbox One S, with it being white, that's the point, because that's the cheap one. They want you to buy the really
Yeah.
expensive X, which looks slightly nicer, so that it fits in and is a
Yeah.
decent. Which, that's a shady marketing tactic.
Oh yeah.
I see you, Major Nelson. Yeah, I see you. Yeah, that's really stupid. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they released another Xbox One X like special edition where it's for Forza, where it's literally a fully like functioning car and you have to like get in it and the Xbox like disc trays in it.
That'd be great.
You bought a real car.
No, it
Yeah.
wouldn't have a disc tray because it'd be just downloads.
Oh yeah, I love the PSP Go.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
Oh, I sometimes forget that thing existed.
Yeah, I think everyone does.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we really want a more convenient, slimmer, nicer designed version of the PSP. Okay, but you're not allowed to put your games inside of it though. Fuck you.
Mm.
Okay.
It's so stupid.
Imagine if Nintendo pulled that shit. They'd get crucified.
Oh yeah.
Like Nintendo would get fucking crucified instantly if they did that with the 3DS. Like, oh, we're gonna make a really nice version of the 3DS, but you can't put cartridges in. Like, fucking everyone would have a field day going, haha, Nintendrones, haha, why you defund them? And then they're like, but don't mention the PSP Go though.
Mm.
We don't mention it. I think there was a way of like getting your physical games onto the PSP Go, but it involved like typing in the barcode into this weird service thing that would give you another code that would let you download it onto the PSP Go, and it was like, like why just make it big? And like that's the thing. I don't mind thinner consoles and stuff,
No.
but when it's so thin that you can't fit the fucking the UMD in it, it's like
The
a bit
other-
ridiculous.
Yeah, the other thing too, you try and make it so thin, and the thinner something is like that, the easier it is for your hands to cramp up as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Game Boy SP, like as a kid it wasn't too bad, but
No.
the Game Boy Advance SP nowadays,
You can't
Yeah,
use it for that long, really.
it's good that they made the DS like more stretched out because you have more room for your hands.
Mm.
Because yeah, a square, like a perfect square in your hands doesn't work.
Nah.
Especially since it had like such small triggers as well, so you really have to cramp your fingers up to reach them. Like they should have been much longer triggers that you could just like press the other end of, but
Yeah, I can't do that.
yeah, I swear there was another thing with the Game Boy Advance SP. That like they wouldn't let you do a certain. Oh, that was it. They didn't have a headphone jack, so if you wanted to charge headphones at the same time, you couldn't. You could only. Which Apple stole
I
recently.
was gonna say, yeah.
Like, 'cause at least Nintendo like acknowledged that and fixed it with like the DS and the Game Boy Advance Micro, which is the Game Boy Advance Micro is an astounding piece of technology. Because holy,
Yeah.
what if we made a console that was the same size as the cartridge to the console?
Yeah.
But wouldn't the screen be really uncomfortable to look at? Nah, it's fine. I swear, like those games must have been running at like native resolution on that thing, because
Oh yeah.
there's no way they blew up the pixels or anything for that thing.
No, definitely.
Which is
not.
weird because if you don't mind the tiny screen, it is by far the best version of the Game Boy Advance.
Oh yeah.
Because the actual Advance isn't backlit. and of course the SP doesn't let you use earphones and charge at the same time, which is a massive like downside. So the micro is in theory the best version, and despite being a small console, it's not that crampy because of course it fixes the trigger thing with like the triggers being long, so you can click the other end of them. But I would pay for a bigger, like if they just took the micro and made it bigger, which I guess they call it the Game Boy Mediocre or something.
They might well do.
Or they just call it like the XL, but it's still like really small.
That would be funny.
Yeah, they, especially considering that the Game Boy Advance had was backwards compatible with Game Boy and Game Boy Color, so you basically get 3 games consoles in one.
Yeah, not bad.
And then the DS was backwards compatible with Game Boy, but Game Boy Advance, but I don't think it was backwards compatible with Game Boy. And then the DS Lite got rid of that entirely. So yeah, if you bought a Game Boy Advance Micro and then bought like a 3DS, then you have the entirety of like Nintendo's handheld stuff in 2 consoles, which is great. I love that. But they don't do that with PlayStation because no one likes old games, even though we're going to remake Crash and make you pay full price for it.
Yeah.
But no one cares about old games, so we're not going to put backwards compatibility in.
Well, hey, we've almost come full circle back to the original topic, which was the remaster of Dark Souls. Yep.
I like tangents.
Oh, yeah.
I also like coming full circle, because that means I don't need to do awkward transitions. I'm trying to think what else was in that Nintendo Direct, because there wasn't...
I know something else in the Direct.
Yep.
A new Payday character.
Oh shit! Yeah, new Payday character, which is Switch exclusive for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, inevitably.
No, I'm pretty sure they already announced that it's coming to PC. It's just a few months or so later, and they really didn't want I guess Nintendo were like, no, you have to make it like really like it's Switch exclusive for a limited amount of time.
Yeah, they really wanted to push that under the rug.
Yeah, and it looks like the new character is. Because like they're a hacker or whatever, so that makes them like somewhat like beginner friendly in that the whole like you don't have to put up with like a lot of the wait timers and stuff. You can kind of just do what you want.
Yeah.
So and the mask is kind of cool, and I guess you have more to say about this than I do.
Yeah. I don't because the thing is I've seen the trailer for them, but I've not seen anything else, so I don't know if there's like a skill set that released. Well, I say skill set. When a character releases, they get a perk deck with them, but you don't have to use that perk deck for them. It's just another one will be added to the roster that you can invest in, and you can use it on any character. But yeah, it will probably be about mitigating wait times, possibly manipulating other things. It could be very interesting. The perk decks are very, very hit or miss. Some are great and really change the way you play. Others are just... You can tell they needed to have a perk deck, so they just thought up something. And almost kind of just slightly recontextualized another existing perk deck. Like, some of them are very, very similar. But the perk decks... are a good way of experimenting with the game systems. And given how it is going to be coming to PC, I have the feeling they will have put at least some effort into it. Because if it was just on the Switch, they would probably not have put really much effort at all into the perk deck.
Oh yeah, because I'd imagine it's just a character to like kind of ease new players in, because of course a lot of the complaints new players have are like the wait times and stuff, and so by having a hacker character they can kind of find other ways around that. That would be a good way of being like, hey, it's just a normal first person shooter, so in a way to attract the normies they have to get rid of all the stuff that makes the game good.
Yeah, it might be that. However, I'm skeptical of that because I just feel that would probably be a bit too much of an overhaul. I think it's probably something a bit more subtle than that. Or it might be a thing like, wait times are 5% less or something. Something really inconsequential if it is something like that.
One
thing I would say with the whole kind of hacker thing, Whatever. It's okay. It's better than another YouTuber. I'll say that much at least.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a hacker was somewhat inevitable.
Yeah, I'm surprised they hadn't already done it.
Yeah, like the idea for the mask is cool, even though they stole it from Watch Dogs 2. But whatever.
Yeah, because when I saw it, I was thinking, oh, is this going to be a Watch Dogs collaboration? But it doesn't seem like it. No.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see like how long, because of course that mask is basically a GIF, so it'll be interesting to see how long it loops, and it probably won't. That'd be interesting actually if you had like skins and stuff for the mask, because they've done that kind of thing before. It's like, oh, you put like a paint job or whatever on the mask, if it would like give you a different like GIF for the lights.
They might do something like that, maybe.
I feel like that'd be a bit too much effort for something they're going for.
Yeah, because with the way it is at the moment, you can customize everything, including like the glasses, although it doesn't look good on them. For certain masks, they will do a thing where only certain parts are going to be changed. But with a lot of the masks, the customization, especially the masks later on, they stopped kind of being just templates and ended up just being fully fledged masks that worked off the bat, that looked fine without anything. Whereas the original ones, a lot of the earlier ones, are kind of just blank templates where the mask is just a mold, really, and you can just put stuff on it, and that is how you kind of invigorate the character into it. Whereas the later ones are kind of, there's already too much going on, so you try and paste stuff over it and it just ruins it.
Like TF2, where it's like, oh, you got like magical hats and like you got a spy with like weapon skins and like a magical like hat and a weird like glowy effect around him riding a fucking the bumper car. It's like, don't. It's a bit too much.
Exactly, and that's the problem a lot of the later masks encounter. This one, I don't know how they're going to approach the customization. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah,
but I have the feeling it might just completely obscure the GIF on it, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the whole if they could do it so like, oh, you change the lights and stuff, but it just changes the color of the light instead of the pattern or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind that too much. It'd be fine. The mask is a bit something different anyway, which after almost 2,000 hours, something a bit different's very it's very appreciated.
After over a year of no updates, the pyro thing is good.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. So next was Mario Tennis, which at first, like, collectively, like, I could hear the, like, when it got announced. But then they were like, it's gonna have a story mode, and apparently the Mario Tennis story mode is something people like.
Really?
Apparently.
I mean, I've just never heard anyone talk about it at all.
Yeah, I've heard people say that, like, oh, I like the GameCube one because it had a story or whatever, and I'll buy this one because it has a story. I'm fairly certain people like the story because it had Waluigi in it.
I was gonna say,
like, one of the only times Waluigi's done anything ever. And the story, like, they only showed a little bit of gameplay, and it looks like the way the gameplay in terms of the story mode works is it's like a top-down RPG thing where, like, you're wandering around a map and, like, you gotta counter over people. And I don't imagine it having a very, like, deep or interesting story.
I would be very surprised if it did.
It'll probably be something along the lines of Bowser sets up tennis tournament, Mario enters tennis tournament, and then at the end it turns out that, like, Bowser had some evil plan to do with it that's easily negated by doing a final boss tennis match or something. You know, it's going to be something along those lines. It's probably going to be like a tournament or something along those lines. But it's Mario's Tennis. I guess.
I mean, most of what I ever see of Mario Tennis is just like freeze framing some of the animations to make it look like they're dabbing. That's all I've ever really seen of it.
I don't imagine, again, that's going to be a game that'll set the world on fire. Hey, maybe gotta appeal to the Wii Sports crowd, I guess.
I guess so, yeah.
But I mean, hey, tennis is
Even though they
fine.
don't buy games consoles, really.
Yeah, like, I mean, tennis is fine, and I wouldn't mind if it was like a £10 game, but
Hmm.
like a £10 like downloadable title
Yeah.
with a lot of content. But no, it looks like a full like proper full cost
Oh,
release.
it will definitely be full price.
Yeah, I mean it's Mario. The fact
Mm.
that it had Mario in like automatically is like, nope, you're paying $60 or £40 or whatever.
Mm.
Uh, so that's good. And goddamn, if that game has any deal. Because I remember, like, the first game that Nintendo tried doing the whole DLC thing with was Mario Golf on the 3DS. Because, yeah, exactly. Like, they wanted to choose a somewhat, like, meaningless game to test
Mm.
DLC on for the first time. Because if it backfired, then no one really gave a shit. And it was
Yeah.
like, oh, you can buy DLC packs that have extra, like, holes and stuff in it. And if they do that with Mario Tennis, that's going to be kind of like pulling it a bit, you know,
Mm,
like
yeah.
um
Because Nintendo's been a bit hit or miss when it comes to their DLC practices. I don't think they've quite got the hang of it yet.
yeah, I mean, I'm fairly certain they haven't done anything as egregious as like loot boxes or
Oh,
anything.
no, definitely not.
So they're somewhat better, but then again, paying to play the hard difficulty of Zelda is a bit like, really?
Yeah, I couldn't believe they did that.
Yeah, like, and I wouldn't mind if it was like Master Quest mode, but it doesn't look like Master Quest mode. It's just a high difficulty setting
Yeah,
with
it's
nothing extra.
just changing some of these statistics, really.
Yeah, exactly. Like if it was Master Quest mode, I'd totally understand because I love Master Quest. But
Mm.
in fact, I would actually quite like that because that would mean more Master Quest because we've only really had it with like Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
And so if they just like relegated Master Quest to just be DLC from now on, I'd be totally happy with that because that just means like more shit to do because of course it has different dungeon layouts and stuff and I love that. But no, doesn't look like they're gonna. I mean, to be fair, would they really want to redesign all the shrines?
True.
Although to be fair, I don't think redesigning the full dungeons would be very difficult. So in fact, if they did it, they would probably be better.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I'm astounded with how much that game reuses the same assets over and over again. Like,
It's crazy.
if you thought Bethesda was bad at that,
Yeah.
get ready to see the same shrine textures 50 billion times.
Mm.
Yeah, and speaking of DLC, so BlazBlue, of course, they have the new game Cross Tank Battle, which is going to have Ruby characters and stuff in it.
Yeah.
They announced their DLC plans, and so they basically said that every character that had been announced up to this point is going to be in the base game. I'm like, cool, fair enough. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
And then right after that they announced Blake, and they were like, Blake and Yang are going to be DLC, and so is, and I was like, I saw a bunch of people get mad at that, and I was like, fair enough. Ruby, like out of all these other, like considering this is a Japanese developed game, like I can understand why Ruby would be a glorified cameo rather than an actual thing.
Yeah.
Like I didn't hate it. I was like, fair enough. You don't want to give him too much of the spotlight, and considering that like the Persona stuff and everything, they were like reusing assets from another fighting game for the Persona stuff. So it wasn't like it was more like a quicker development thing. Whereas with the Ruby stuff, they had to like develop them from scratch and everything. So I can understand that. But then I got angry when I saw that they had also announced that 20 characters in the game were going to be DLC, and there were going to be 20 characters in the base game. So the game is DLC. And that's the part where I'm like, okay, guys, what are you doing here?
Yeah. Because I imagine, I don't know exactly what their plan is, but I imagine these are just going to be individual DLCs for every character.
I think it's packs of free characters, but I'm not certain. And they're going to be relatively expensive. I think it's like I think it's like £6 or so per pack, and you get 3 or so characters. So it's going to take you a hefty amount of money.
Yeah, because I wouldn't mind it so much if those 20 characters were across just a couple of expansions.
Yeah. If it was like an expansion pack or whatever, you just get that'd be fine.
And if it was over a fair amount of time as well, because that's good for the longevity of the game.
Yeah, if they announced this after the game was released, I would be a bit...
that's one of the main things, because it's like having it be an ongoing kind of process of development and release. But I'm never okay with the whole thing of like, oh, we've got all this content ready, but this much is going behind a paywall at release. Have fun.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's a bit scummy.
And one of the worst parts is that they're not doing a good job of communicating stuff, because that stuff we know, but there are rumors going around saying that the reason they're doing this is because the base game is going to be relatively cheap, and I'm like, if that's fun, like that's relatively fine if like the base game is like cheap and if it's not like a full price thing, like I get that, but they've neither confirmed nor denied that, so. Information would be good. Do
you know when it's supposed to come out?
March.
Well, that's really soon.
Very soon, yeah, exactly.
Because usually they give at least some kind of indicators, like, oh, this is going to be full price, or this is going to be less than full price. Yeah,
this looks like... Because that's the thing, Arc System Works are already working on so many other games, like the Dragon Ball FighterZ and everything. And I think there's another game they're working on. And so I was like, when they announced this, I'm like, are they working on a bit too much at one time? And now it becomes very apparent that this was done as a quick cashing job. Rooster Teeth probably offered them a bunch of money. They were like, hey, can you include characters in our games? And we're working on Dragon Ball and we're not going to put them in that. So what if we quickly made a game that was already made up almost entirely of characters that we've already made fighting games for, like the BlazBlue characters and the Persona ones, and we just kind of put those in, and then add the Ruby characters and gain some licensing money, and then of course all the Ruby fan base are going to buy it too, and we're going to make a bunch of money and everything. I think it was just a rush job.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, this isn't great. Yeah, that's not fun. Which is a shame, because apparently Dragon Ball FighterZ is like a fucking amazing fighting game from what I've heard.
I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, and it's a shame because I'm totally up for playing a good fighting game, and I was getting pumped up for the cross-tag battle, but it doesn't look very good. And a lot of people, because of that, have jumped ship from cross-tag battle to Dragon Ball, because like, well, I like anime anyway, so I don't mind a Dragon Ball Z one. And I'm like, I don't like all the character designs in Dragon Ball look the same.
I don't like the art style at all for Dragon Ball, and have zero investment in it as a franchise.
Yeah, like there's a couple, like I don't mind Cell's design, for example, but like most of the important characters are like generic muscly man with spiky black hair, and his power up is that he gets different colored hair.
Yeah. And
there's a surprising amount of characters that applies to. And with a fighting game, you want like character variety and stuff, like which is why which is why stuff like Smash Bros works so well. It's not technically fighting it, whatever, don't care. Using it as an example, not gonna argue about this right now. And so Dragon Ball FighterZ does absolutely nothing for me, especially considering it's the kind like fighting games are the sort of ones that you have to get properly invested into and play a lot. Because like that's the game. The game is learning the meta and strategies and mastering all this other stuff, and that takes a lot of time and effort. And if I'm gonna do that, it has to be with a bunch of characters and stuff I'm really invested in, and I just can't do that with Dragon Ball FighterZ. So, giving that one a skip, I guess. Although to be fair, I was never really intending on buying it, but like I feel like I had to directly address the fact that I'm still not going to get it, because a lot of the people I know have jumped ship from Cross Tag over to Dragon Ball FighterZ. So I'm not doing that. I'll wait and see what people say about Cross Tag Battle after it's been released for a while and it's probably gone down in price a bit, because I still need to get it because of Weiss, because I'm that person. But I probably won't pay full price or anything for it, depending on how good it is. I mean, luckily for me, the character I care about isn't DLC, so that's one less paywall, I guess. Although I will probably be tempted to buy DLC at some point if I do end up getting the full game. I don't like the idea of the characters being DLC, because it's it's a fighting game, and again, fighting games are the meta. That's the game. The game is learning meta and getting good. And so, if there are characters that are better than others in like the meta table, but those are DLC, then you have a disadvantage. And that's that's how Overwatch justifies its loot boxes, because they're like, oh, but at least now at least you're not disadvantaged if you're playing competitive or whatever, because you have access to every character, and so that's good. I mean, as to whether or not it justifies the loot boxes, I don't think so. But at least you get all the characters, and in a competitive scenario, you're not disadvantaged. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a shame because a lot of fighting games seem to be coming out recently, and not many of them seem to be very good either. Because Street Fighter 5 was garbage from the sounds of things, and so was
I heard both of them were dreadful.
Yeah,
I didn't play either of them because I don't really tend to play fighting games, but they don't seem to be ones worth playing, even if you are into fighting games.
Yeah, and I really hope Soul Calibur 6 doesn't fall under this. I want that one to be good. We haven't had any more news at all from that, so I guess they're just saving it for E3 or whatever. I wouldn't expect. I mean, maybe I would have expected them to say something about it during Nintendo Direct, where they like announced a Switch port or something, but they didn't. So it's coming to PC anyway. So
yeah, Switch probably isn't really much of a priority for them.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see people working on a new Soul Calibur with the ones that did Tekken 7 or whatever the new one is, and apparently that one's good. So that's good. We'll see. So I feel like that's everything worthwhile from... Oh no, Luigi's in Mario Odyssey, but actually it's just a dumb, shitty minigame.
Oh.
That was annoying, because they showed Luigi on the screen, and I was like, oh, they're going to have him as like a playable character or something. No, it's like the most like meaningless minigame, and you take a balloon and you put it somewhere in the map, and then someone else has to find it in multiplayer mode, and that's it. That's the entire game.
I mean, they know full well how much people want Luigi.
Yeah, and so why couldn't they just make him a playable character?
I don't know.
Because he would just it could totally just get away with having him be a Mario skin, like a glorified Mario skin. Like he controls the same and everything. I mean, most games do it so that he has slightly different like maneuverability in terms of the fact that like he jumps higher and everything.
Yeah.
But you don't even have to do that if you don't want to. Like I don't know why they had him as this dumb mini game thing, but whatever. In other news, there is a Nintendo Direct happening, I think, right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This was announced the last second, right? And we lost track of time and everything. Yeah, there's a Nintendo Direct. I guess I'll catch up on that later, or we'll watch a VOD or something of it. Don't get your hopes up, because they said before, when they announced it earlier today, it's aimed at children, and the rumors are saying that it's going to be them marketing a really, really gimmicky piece of shit or something. So I don't expect this to be the one where they show more Metro Prime stuff or whatever.
No, I can't imagine. They'd make a big deal out of it if this was going to be it.
Yeah, exactly. And so the fact that they specifically said in the announcement that it's aimed at kids or people that are a child at heart. Yeah. Oh, here's a post with Nintendo Labo. Oh, yeah, it's a gimmicky piece. Okay, yeah. We can talk about the thing that got announced, because I've got a single image that explains exactly what it is. And it's bad. It's a gimmicky piece of shit. So it's a set of... It's like a giant box with a bunch of cardboard sets in it and stuff. And what you can do is you can make your own things for the Nintendo Switch, like Joy-Cons, to plug into. So basically... Okay. You can use like this cardboard set or whatever to make like a makeshift piano, and then you plug your Switch into it, and there's a bunch of gimmicky mini games involving that. And there's another one with a fishing rod. Yeah, it's it's a gimmicky piece of shit.
That sounds really weird and just pointless.
Yes, I will quickly send the image over to you on like Facebook or whatever. But yeah, I'm fine with us missing that direct because that, yeah, I was glad to not get my hopes up for that because it looks like a cardboard. You just, yeah. So I guess breaking news happened during the podcast in the first episode, but it was so meaningless.
Breaking non-news.
Yeah, this is just something that most like Xbox fans are just gonna hold against Nintendo more than anything else. Like, oh, they still make kid
checkmate, Nintentards.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I mean, I know I'm not like the average kid or whatever, but when I was a kid, I cared about like video games.
Yeah,
I don't care about cardboard shit.
No.
Like as a kid, I was like, I'm gonna play Smash Bros or whatever. Like, not I'm gonna do whatever the frick that is. Frick. Yeah, that doesn't look very good.
No, it's the kind of thing, kids are going to get bored of that like after 5 minutes and they're going to go back to playing like an actual game.
Yeah. It doesn't look very good. Let's see, here's some more information about it. Nintendo Labo combines the magic of Nintendo Switch with the fun of DIY creations. Start with a piece of cardboard. Build a 13-key piano, a fishing pole, or even a motorbike. Hold a recital, catch a fish, win a race. With Nintendo Labo, building is just as much fun as playing. Have fun discovering how it all works. You might even invent new ways to play with each Toy-Con creation. That's a bad word. That's Nintendo Labo. What will you create? Yeah, so you just build cardboard stuff. And how the cardboard stuff works is because you put the Joy-Cons in it. Mm-hmm. It like detects the motion controls, so you don't actually have to build the things, basically.
Yeah, you can just bypass it entirely.
Yeah, because like they have this one where it's like it shows like motorbike handlebars, but what it really is just like a tube of cardboard that has the Joy-Cons inside them, and then by moving the handlebars, the Joy-Cons detect you moving them, and it's a motion control gimmicky piece of shit minigame.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, kids are going to pick up, because they're not stupid, kids are going to pick up on that quite quickly, because they know to some extent how this tech works, and they'll just simulate it. They won't, because it's too much effort. If for every kind of game they want to play, they've got to build this thing for it. They're not going to do that. They're just going to try and simulate it.
Yeah, and it looks like they're trying to sell you different parts, like kits and stuff for it. So it's like, you buy the base set that comes with this cardboard, and then you can pay extortionate amount of money to get more cardboard when you eventually run out or ruin it or whatever.
Yeah.
It would be cheaper to buy actual cardboard and just cut out and make the sets yourself. In fact, it would be more creative and inventive and more fun anyway.
Yeah, because I can't imagine. I mean, given how these are meant to relate to specific like mini games, I can't imagine you're going to have much creative flexibility, if any, when it comes to this, because you can't exactly make new games, right?
Yeah, you definitely can't, because it has very specific examples and stuff.
So you can build from a couple of templates, really. And that's it. It just seems like a big waste of time.
Yeah, like honestly, if I want to build something, I'm gonna stick to Lego.
Yeah.
I don't need to I don't like that thing with like modern gaming where like to justify video games we have to combine it with something other people like. Obviously, the most example is movies. We're gonna make this game like a movie, man. Because now justify gaming as a medium, and now they're doing it with like toys and with like Skylanders and stuff, and now they're doing it with like Lego here, where it's like, oh, we're gonna justify video games by making it like the thing, like the other thing you like. And I don't need them to be combined.
No, it's missing the point. It's undermining game. It's undermining gaming itself because it makes it seem as though it has to rely on something else to justify existing.
Yeah, it like if I want to play, like they both compromise each other. Like
if
you like, because like the building part, is going to be half-assed because you don't have that much creativity because you have to build the exact thing so that the game will work. So it's not creative at all. It's just you following instructions. Like with Lego, you can like go off instructions if you want and like modify it. But with this, you won't be able to because it has to work with the game.
Yeah.
And the game is going to be a piece of shit because who's going to play a good game with a piece of cardboard or whatever?
Yeah, it's going to be like the most basic kind of thing.
Like, I don't imagine, like, playing the entirety of Dark Souls in that manner, you know? It's just not going to happen.
No.
Like, and so I don't know what they're trying here, but to be fair, it's Nintendo, so that happens a lot.
True.
Maybe it'll do well. Because like I don't even hate the idea of like making niche stuff that isn't supposed to be something I'm into. Like I totally get that. I'm not every Switch owner. Like there are gonna be people with different tastes, and I get that.
Yeah.
But I don't even imagine kids liking this.
No, I think they're just going to get bored with it. And they're going to just figure out how to bypass. And the second they figure that out, they're not going to bother making it.
Yeah, and the mini games are going to have no depth to them either. So
no.
Like, because like Wii Fit's a good example. Wii Fit isn't aimed at me. I don't care about Wii Fit, but there's a bunch of people that do care about Wii Fit, and it looks decent at what it does, right? But this isn't that.
Yeah.
Like Wii Fit was like, oh, we're gonna help you to lose weight in an easy way, Grandma. You know, like, but this is just crap Lego.
Yeah.
Like, because the first thing I thought of when I saw this was 1-2 Switch, and that's not a good thing you want me to think of ever.
No, that's like the last thing you want to be thinking about.
Yeah, so that's good. Cool.
It's something.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the price is. I'll be really, because they are definitely going to overcharge for this.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, we can already see that there's two different like game cartridges. There's one for like the robot game, and there's another for like the motorbike and other ones. So there's already two cartridges, and it looks like they're going to release a bunch of expansion packs with different like sets of cardboard in and stuff. So I don't see this doing very well.
No.
I see them overcharging massively for this.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like this one is doomed to from the beginning, but I can't wait for a few months' time when it turns out to be the next Skylanders or whatever. Maybe I'm just too old for this shit, man.
Maybe.
Back in my day with Pokemon cards. I liked Pokemon cards. Why can't we go back to Pokemon cards?
I mean, isn't that still a thing, kind of?
It is, but it's more of a niche thing.
Yeah.
Like it's got a very kind of like now the only people that really collect them are people that are actually interested in playing card games. Whereas back in the day, people bought them just because they liked Pokemon, you know.
Yeah. You'd never actually play them.
Yeah, exactly, and that was like a genius marketing tactic because it's like everyone wants the shiny cards, so who cares about the rules of the game? Just buy packs and get the shiny Pikachu.
Now you just have mobile games.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's the thing with Amiibo and trading cards. It's like even if you don't care about the game, at least they look cool. Like Amiibos look decent on your shelf or whatever. Like,
yeah.
And they're relatively cheap. Like, you know, people will kill for like relatively like cheap £10 like little figures of their favorite Nintendo characters.
Oh yeah.
And so, like the other stuff aside, like that's cool. But this is going to be like Mum's worst nightmare. Like you got your cardboard shit all over the place.
Yeah, you'll lose like one bit and then you can't build the thing.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like I don't imagine this like just Lego. Lego's cool.
Yeah.
If you want to combine creativity with video games, make something like Minecraft where you make stuff in the game.
I think Minecraft tapped into this years ago, and then you get stuff like this that just kind of misses the point.
Yeah. Yeah, that's thoroughly puzzled me, but I don't know what Reggie's thinking.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't wait until it does come out and people make like the weird they go off script and they just make really weird shit with it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I made a dildo and I can play this game.
I was gonna say that. That would have been the thing I'd say that people are gonna make with it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna do a speed run of Breath of the Wild using this cardboard dildo.
That'd be quite something to see.
Yeah, that's exactly what this game's gonna be. It's gonna be meme. That's it. That's why they released it. They released it for memes.
Self-aware.
Yeah.
VR chat's gonna come out for the Switch next.
Yeah.
Which would of course mean VR as well for the Switch.
Oh, they've already confirmed that they don't give a shit about VR still, and they also don't give a shit about 4K. And it's like, of course, Nintendo don't care about 4K, but
of course they don't.
Yeah, because that's the thing. When the Switch was first released, everyone was like, "Oh, the reason like it's a tablet or whatever is because they're going to release a VR device where you literally just like slot the Switch into it and then use that as the screen." But that still to this day, I think it was literally yesterday that they confirmed that they don't give a shit about VR. So
yeah, like it's been quite obvious for the whole time that they were never really going to be pursuing that.
I mean, after the Virtual Boy, do you blame them?
Yeah. Because, man, I still don't think it's a good idea for consoles to be pursuing this. PC is different.
Yeah, it's a breath of fresh air to have a games company that doesn't care about that kind of thing. Because we all know this year's E3, Xbox are going to announce their VR thing. They haven't even been subtle quiet about it. They're like, oh, the Xbox One X was released so that we can do 4K and another thing we're working on.
Gee, I wonder what that could be.
Yeah, exactly. So I can't wait to play all one Xbox One games with VR now.
Can't wait to play Doom in VR, but on the Xbox One X.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, their version of VR is probably going to be better than the PS VR, but I mean, PS VR has more stuff, so...
Yeah, because it's about the games.
And not to mention, PSVR has a lower price point because the PlayStation 4 in general costs less than the Xbox One X.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like currently you have the option between, you have affordability with PSVR, and then you have high-end stuff with PC, Oculus and Vive. So if the Xbox One X comes into the VR market, it's not going to appeal to either crowd.
It's literally just going to appeal to people who already have an Xbox who don't want to buy a PlayStation.
It's not going to entice anyone else to get an Xbox if they already have a PS4 or like a really good gaming PC.
But also at the same time, it looks like, and of course we're going to have to wait until the official announcement, but it looks like the Xbox One X was made with the exclusive, it's going to be a VR machine in future.
Oh, I'm sure it was, yeah.
So what if you have a different version of the Xbox One? Do you have to buy the console again to play the VR version? Because that's kind of shady. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt until they announce it, but it looks like that's the reason. The reason they made the Xbox One X was so that they had something powerful enough to run a PC-like version of VR. Because again, the PlayStation version is kind of cheap and crappy, but at least it's affordable.
Yeah.
If Xbox One VR is only works with the X, then I don't see anyone at all ever buying that ever.
No.
Why would they?
Exactly. This is not really the reason there.
Unless they're going to announce Halo 6 VR or something, which I wouldn't put it past them.
Nah.
That's going to be a killer app or something. It's we made. Once again, we have the length of the Halo campaign, but this time it's in VR.
They might just make a VR version of the next Halo or something. They'll release it normally, but you can also play in VR or something like that.
Yeah, I'm genuinely trying to think of other things that the Xbox One would do with VR. Gears of War.
I was gonna say Gears of War. They haven't got much.
They really don't. They kind of have Tomb Raider, but that's only because of timed exclusives.
Yeah.
So, you have Cuphead, but they're not doing anything with Cuphead. Fuck that.
Cuphead VR.
Yeah, that wouldn't work. I have no fucking clue why they want to make. Remember the HoloLens? They didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, that fell through entirely, didn't it?
Yep, they barely got past the prototype stage with that thing.
Mm.
Unless it turns out they're still working on it, but I don't think they are.
I don't know.
Because they were like, oh, this makes for an impressive E3 conference, but just like everyone else in the real world realized, there's no practical use for it
No.
at all.
And they failed to demonstrate like how it would actually look, because they tried to simulate the perspectives that we would get, but at the same time you have to be there and you have to actually see firsthand how it kind of looks to appreciate it to any extent.
Yeah.
All of what they showed was kind of pseudo, like, well, it was kind of just more or less fake conceptual stuff, really. And they probably just realised it was too difficult to work with, and just swept it under the rug and hoped everyone forgot about it. And a lot of people have.
Yeah, exactly. I don't see like what Xbox is gonna. I feel like they're not gonna last another console generation at this rate. I think because I think they're planning that as well. I think they're planning on jumping ship because they've been putting so much shit on the PC. So it's like they're gonna like bow out of the console market, but keep selling like Xbox controllers for PC and stuff, and do that kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they're preparing for. That would make sense. That would explain why all of their exclusives are available on PC and everything. So
it's a good contingency plan.
Yeah, exactly. Like at least they have a plan, unlike like Sega or whatever, where it's like, oh, stop making the Dreamcast. I guess we're just gonna make Sonic games for Nintendo consoles now.
Because I mean, the thing is that they're established on the PC market because they're Windows. You know,
yeah, exactly.
They've got Windows. It's all Microsoft. So yeah, they wouldn't really have to do anything.
Yeah, so I think that's what they're planning for. I think they're just like, we're going to get as many suckers as possible to buy the most expensive hardware ever, and then we're going to bow out.
Yeah.
And then we're just going to make Halo games for PC.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it might last maybe one more generation. I mean, I'm not sure. It's very difficult to tell.
Which is weird, because the Xbox 360 was like really good for a while. Like, not at first, because like at first it kept breaking, but like it hit a point where the Xbox 360 was like a really good console. But like that's the only time where like Xbox has truly been a really good competitor, because like no one really cared about the original Xbox. Like it had an audience, but like it definitely didn't make that much money, especially considering it was like their first console and it was the most expensive console of that generation.
It came in quite late as well.
Yeah. It just wasn't going to compete with the PS2. Like, there's no way it was going to. And the Xbox 360 kind of had something going for a while, and the Xbox 360 did do pretty well, but then they killed it with the Xbox One, and I don't mean that.
No.
They killed any goodwill they had with that thing.
And they've been trying to just play catch up ever since, really.
Yeah, I just don't know what. It was just weird, because, again, they had like a really good E3 last year, but their E3 was announcing third-party games that were going to be on every other console anyway, so that's why their E3 was good. Oh, jeez. But yeah, we're probably going to get close to wrapping up soon anyway. We'll talk about a couple of things first, but we're getting pretty lengthy here. It went pretty well for a first episode. I like this. But yeah, there's one other topic, and I'm just like, I'm kind of umming and ahhing as to whether or not I bring this up and start the massive fucking YouTube drama. Mother's Basement doesn't like card game anime, and this is something that a lot of people want me to talk about, so I guess this is the best place to mention it. I don't want to make an outright video going, Mother's Basement's garbage, XD clickbait. So I guess I'm going to tackle this here. I don't want to start drama. I don't want people taking stuff I say out of context. I'm not big enough to worry about drama or anything, though, so that's good. I get a bit of leniency here. But so Mo's Basement on Twitter put up a poll saying, what video should I do next? I'm working on all of these, so they'll eventually like come out, but which one should come up next? And why all card games anime are garbage was like the most voted one, and it was worded like that. And And I replied to him on Twitter saying, "Oh, you're probably gonna like give it unfair judging and everything, and oh, it's a niche genre. It's not really supposed to appeal to most people, you know, like, and so on and so forth. And oh, you're probably gonna judge this mostly just off of one series of Yu-Gi-Oh, and so on, and." Because I didn't want him to be unfair, and I didn't want people to constantly keep linking me the video he makes as justification for why my opinion is shit. I want him to, if he's going to make videos about stuff, I want him to give it a fair chance. And so the video did come out, and in some ways it was better than I expected, but in other ways it was worse.
Okay.
I completely predicted that the thumbnail was going to contain Yugi, and it was going to have some kind of like anime titties, and it had both of those. And the title, he dumbed it down, and I don't know if it's because, like, specifically because of me calling him out for that, but yeah, he did change the title to why card game anime misrepresents card games or whatever, and I'm like, that's a dumb title, but maybe that was specifically because people called him out on saying all card game anime stuff. He did still say all card game anime, like, missed the point or whatever. Like, it had letters. Even though in the video he admits that Vanguard is actually pretty good. So basically the entire video is him setting up the reasons he doesn't like card game anime, and that's because they're just shonen anime and they don't really focus on the card game itself much, which is kind of bullshit because newer series of Yu-Gi-Oh! Do that a lot. Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, and Arc 5, and Reigns focus on the card game aspect itself a lot. And he was like, oh, they don't, like, most card game anime don't care about the metagame or anything. They just take shonen anime and then just replace the fights with card games. And they don't care about win conditions and meta and deck formats and all this other stuff. Even though Arc 5 and Reigns, I know for a fact, do. Every Arc 5 character used a deck that was a viable archetype. Like, you know how in Duel Monsters, how, like, Yugi's deck would just be a bunch of random-ass cards that don't have any synergy with each other?
Yeah.
That was what he was complaining about, basically. He was like, oh, it doesn't really feel like the actual card game. Even though in Reigns and Arc 5, every character actually uses a viable archetype. So, him saying that's kind of bullshit. And that's just within Yu-Gi-Oh! But he even said to me, like, the only Yu-Gi-Oh! Series he's really seen are, like, out-of-context episodes of Zexal, all of Duel Monsters, and half of 5Ds. So, you need, like, maybe it's worth watching, like, the currently airing series, which is only, like, 20 or so episodes through. Maybe that would be good. Because it wouldn't take that much time to do, and it would also give you an accurate depiction as to where the franchise is right now. So you don't complain about things that have already been fixed. And then he does that for ages and like keep repeating the same points over and over again, going, I really love card games like Hearthstone, and that's a joke because Hearthstone is a complete random number generator game where it's like, oh, if you flip a coin, you win the game. So that's not a good way of... Yeah, that's not a good way of backing up your point by saying I like Hearthstone, because I even got called out for that in the Vanguard video where I was like, I play a lot of card games, and then I used a little bit of footage from Hearthstone among footage from Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! You're not supposed to, Hearthstone's crap, and I said, but my point was that I play a lot, not that I like a lot, whereas Mother's Basement's I really like Hearthstone. Yeah, it's a fallacy. Like, my point is different to his. The one I was getting across is that I played a lot, not that I enjoyed all of them. And so he was using, I play a lot of Hearthstone and I have a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh cards as like his justification and everything, and he overall being condescending. And then he goes, I wish there was an anime where people actually opened packs and talked about the meta, and maybe they went to a card shop a lot. And I'm like, okay, he's like, either he's really ignorant or he's intentionally like describing Vanguard. And then he's like, by the way, I'm describing Vanguard Season 1. And I'm like, okay, cool. Then this is the one part of the video I thought was better than I expected, where he actually acknowledged what was so good about Vanguard by saying that it basically does all this stuff to a T. But then he ruins his entire point. Says that I've only seen Season 1 of Vanguard, and I refuse to watch any more because after that point it becomes a generic shonen. And I'm like, how? How do you... First of all, if you haven't seen past Season 1, how do you know it becomes a generic shonen?
No, yeah. I mean, that's the kind of thing that annoys me a lot when people really kind of get it in their heads that they know the ins and outs of all these series because they hear people talk about it, and so after them they talk from the almost like from the perspective of someone who actually has watched it, when in reality they've not watched it, and it shows because you can call them out quite easily.
Yeah.
And it's dumb. I don't know why people do it. If you have not seen or played something, don't try and talk from the perspective that you know it really well.
Yeah, it's really annoying because again, he was saying, "Oh, Vanguard does all this stuff really well," and then, but it still isn't a very good series because, like, of course, even I admit the first series isn't very good.
Mm-hmm.
And then he proceeds to say, "But it gets worse as it goes on," despite not seeing anything past season 1.
Yeah, that's true.
Because again, he admitted that on Twitter that he hasn't seen anything past season 1, and despite the fact that season 2 is almost exactly like season 1, by the way. Even in my video, like the Age of Circuit arc is of a tournament, and that doesn't, like, it's literally just a continuation of season 1. So I have to fucking clue why, like, it's very clear he hasn't even watched a single episode of season 2.
Yeah.
And then, like, because later on it does add shonen aspects, but it adds and takes them away. So, like, because the third season, the first half of it is more of like, oh, we're in a card shop and oh, we're playing the game and everything. And then in the latter half, they add shonen stuff in, but it's shonen stuff that ties in and works in tandem with the card game. So it's like it's not just a generic shonen thing; it's a shonen thing that only works because it's a card game, which I think is Vanguard's biggest strength. And he completely ignores it because he's like, no, it's just a generic shonen and it's crap, and it doesn't acknowledge the card game, even though the Link Joker arc almost exclusively acknowledges the card game and does really cool and clever stuff with that, but he's never going to watch it because he really wants to prove his point, I guess.
Yeah.
and then also because, like, they also have like tension, like rises and tensions and breaks and stuff. So like there'll be a really big like shonen action or whatever, like in the Link Joker arc. But then a couple of arcs later, it'll go back to just the slice of life we're focusing exclusively in the card game thing again. So it has like peaks and troughs in that kind of regard, and like because it gives it time so that the next time a villain appears, it'll feel like a big deal, which is really well done. And apparently, according to Mother's Basement, that doesn't happen because the first series is the only one that focuses on the card game at all, and the rest are just shonen garbage. I think he even compares the later seasons to Bleach, and I'm like, well, that's a line, you know it. And also, again, to make things worse, literally the title says in all capital letters the word all card game anime.
Yeah.
His big point is that one doesn't is cheating.
Oh, yeah, because it's a direct contradiction.
Yeah, exactly. He should have just watched the rest of Vanguard, and then he should have made the video like he should have called it something along the lines of what makes Vanguard stand out or whatever, and then explained what his problems were with Yu-Gi-Oh. I still would have took problem with that because again the newest series of Yu-Gi-Oh corrects that, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then he should have spent the rest of the video explaining why he sees potential in Vanguard or whatever, or catching up with Vanguard, and explaining why he likes it or why he doesn't like it or what makes it stand out, instead of just taking a cheap jam to get views and go card game anime shit, so that a bunch of normies and stuff are going to be like, haha, I also hate card game anime despite not seeing any in a decade or so. And then like it's just cheap, and he's made it full well that like he exploits the algorithm and he's proud of it. I'm sure. He shills all the time. He makes his videos in a specific length so that they'll get the most amount of ads, and he gives them massive clickbaity things, and he makes a bunch of Sword Art Online videos, and it's like, just do better, please. Like, I used to really like his channel because he'd be like, oh, I'm going to take these things that no one cares about and analyze them, like with the opening views and stuff. And that was cool. But then the second he blew up, he turned into clickbaity garbage and doesn't research his stuff properly. And what's this? It turns out he's one of the writers on Game Theory. Wow, who would have guessed?
Imagine my shock.
Yeah. So again, people want me to write a rebuttal. I don't think I need to do anything more than what I said now. I know I could totally get a bunch of views by going, why Mother's Basement is wrong, XD capital letters, thumbnail with the big circles and arrows and stuff and everything. I could totally do that and get a ton of views.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I don't care. I would be up for debate if he put more thought into it and he had reasonable things to argue against, but there's nothing to argue against. The only thing I can say is do your research, and that's all it comes down to. I can't say anything more until he does his research. Any Vanguard fan that sees that video will agree with my point. Undoubtedly, there have been others that have talked to me on Twitter and stuff saying, yeah, no, he hasn't done enough research, which just invalidates his entire point. You can't judge an entire genre by watching a handful of episodes of a handful of anime. It just can't be done.
No, definitely not.
So yeah, that's all I have to say on the subject. Hopefully it'll suffice for all the Vanguard fans that want me to talk about Vanguard more. But yeah, unless you have any other conversation topics or anything, this feels
well, I didn't know if you wanted to possibly go over the YouTube monetization changes, because we haven't really discussed that, and that's a pretty big deal at the moment.
Yep. So yeah, YouTube have moved the goalposts, as it seems, so that if you want to monetize your videos, you have to have. See, the number keeps changing because it's 4,000 hours. Some people say a week, some people say a month, some people say a year. And
from the emails I've seen, it looks as though if you don't want to be the emails I've seen people receive are basically warnings saying unless you reach this threshold within the next month, you will be demonetized. But you have like a month kind of grace period. Yeah. But the usual kind of metric will be, from what I've seen, is 4,000 hours over the course of a year.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to clarify the previous kind of like cutoff period or whatever was you had to have 10,000 views and then you can monetize. I'm fairly certain that's what it was.
I'm pretty sure it was, yeah.
And I've hit that. I'm at like 30,000 views. So
yeah. I'm most of the way there. I'm near 7,000.
So I want to express. I want to stress, because of course, before I give my opinion on this, I have to explain where I am on the YouTube ladder and why I have that opinion. So I've hit that. I hit that ages ago. I basically hit that almost the instant I uploaded the Vanguard video, and so I could have been monetizing my videos almost this entire time and making an alright, pocket change amount of money. But I decided not to because it wasn't I wouldn't be making a substantial amount of money. Enough to burden my viewers with adverts. Once I get a decent amount more subs or whatever, I will think about monetizing, but I want it to be an amount that's worth making my audience watch adverts, So I made that choice, but as I get bigger, I'm probably going to reevaluate that choice and start adding monetization and stuff and making a decent amount of money. So that's what I decided. A lot of people are gonna go for more the second I can monetize, I will approach, and that's, I think, giving people the option, because I took that option. I was given the option and I declined it, and if I didn't decline it, then too bad. I'd be forcibly declining it now, and so the choice is important, and I feel like 10,000 views was already enough of a threshold. Like the one that they've currently got is kind of ridiculous. Because you made the point of what if someone makes a viral video, they will not make any money from that video that made them famous in the first place.
Exactly, yeah.
So they're missing out on a huge chunk of money potentially. Because a lot of people are like, oh no, but the only people that are losing money are people that would have made less than 100 a year. And first of all, I wouldn't mind 100 a year, so shut up. It's still money. That's still important. 100 a year is pretty good, actually, especially if you're doing it as a hobby. Yeah. So you don't get the right to deny people that. Especially considering this is mostly big YouTubers that have been saying this, and we'll get more into that in a bit. But also, it's just, what problem is this going to fix?
Exactly, because I mean, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I want to touch on this because I've definitely got opinions on this topic, mainly because of how many people I've seen talk about it, and people on my feed talking about it on Twitter seem fairly split. But the split is along channel size lines.
Yeah, same with me.
Yeah, exactly. Your Movie Sucks is one person I've seen who has tried to somewhat defend this move.
Yeah.
But the main culprit I've seen is Review Tech USA, who is completely on board with this. And a common trend I see is people trying to say that this is going to quote unquote fix YouTube. And by fix YouTube, they mean prevent another adpocalypse. And this notion is wrong for a few reasons. One is the reasoning for the first the first adpocalypse was mainly it was caused the reason put forward by the advertisers was because their adverts were being put on questionable content. What you consider to be questionable content, it varies, but a lot of it is kind of politically incorrect stuff. Some stuff that is questionable as to whether or not it breaks the guidelines, but a lot of stuff that is allowed on YouTube but advertisers don't like. That's why they have the new advertiser friendly thing, even though that's affecting videos that really shouldn't be, like makeup channels. It's like, what isn't advertiser friendly about this kind of thing? It's ridiculous.
And LGBT stuff constantly gets tanned.
And that's a weird one as well. But I guess it's seen as taboo. Even though like a lot of the advertisers, they're not going to care. But this is the other thing actually. People think the advertisers actually care what their content goes on. People who think that are buying into the narrative. This is a ploy by advertisers to get more out of YouTube, because it is it's a well documented fact for a long time now that advertisers have always wanted to renegotiate the deals in regards to the cut they get from YouTube, because they've never been happy with it. They've always thought it was too low, and they saw this and they thought, let's create a moral panic out of this. And whenever there's a moral panic, the majority of people jumping on the bandwagon could not care less about the actual topic. They're not actually outraged. It's all a means by which to gain leverage, and YouTube has capitulated. They have completely given in and let them have their way, and people are falling for it. And people who are falling for it are partially responsible for this kind of thing going on, because they're not creating any kind of resistance to it, and they're just blindly believing it. And I don't know why. Because it should be quite obvious, because why would the advertisers really care? They have no real reason to. This isn't hurting their brand. When the Wall Street Journal makes a post going on about how adverts for this company are appearing on certain things, they don't really care, because it's not actually going to bring them that much bad PR. If anything, them pulling the ads is going to be what is going to hurt them. Like with Pepsi, for example. Pepsi and a few other companies, when they Pepsi, sorry, that was another thing. It was Coke, I think, who pulled their adverts or something. But there were a lot of companies. People only started boycotting these companies once they pulled the adverts. But people seem to have forgotten that, and they've kind of got blinkers on, so they're looking at this in a very narrow perspective now. And all of the people going on about it aren't going to be affected, because they either don't make videos or they or they've already made it, so they're way above the threshold. And the other thing too is, it's not going to fix YouTube at all. Because here's the thing: a lot of the videos that are deemed not advertiser friendly, they have more than 1,000 subscribers. They get more than 4,000 hours in a year.
This isn't... you're either well above the threshold or you're under it. Like, there's no one barely over it,
Exactly.
You're either completely safe and untouchable, or you're being affected. There's no in between, really.
Because a big thing about this is they assume it's all of these are alt-right channels talking about white identitarianism and this kind of thing that are causing it. And they are some of the scapegoats being used by the companies to pull their ads. But the thing is, people underestimate the size of these channels. Most of them, well, I say most of them, a lot of them have thousands of subscribers, tens of thousands of subscribers. A lot of them are branching out. They're doing debates with people like Sargon of Akkad, who has the best part of 1 million subscribers. Don't think these are tiny channels of like 100 subscribers. They're not. So this situation is not going to change at all with this. This is not going to fix anything, and all of the people justifying it are just trying to underplay the detrimental effects of it in regards to motivation. And I think some people are overplaying the motivation thing, with the exception of maybe animators. But with most other people, if they, some people are making valid points by saying, if this change is going to stop you from making videos, you probably didn't have enough conviction to begin with.
Oh, and that's dumb, because I don't even think many people are going to stop because of this.
I don't think anyone's really going to stop. Not really.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's no one else to jump to, and a lot of people think it's about the money, because $100 isn't much anyway. And I'm like, well, first of all, at one point you were the one making $100 from YouTube, so shut up. And that probably was a turning point in their YouTube career as well. So
I mean, let's put it this way. Let's say you did a little part-time job or something, or maybe not even a part-time job actually. Just like you did some odd jobs and you were getting £100 for it or whatever at the end of the year, and then you were told, oh well, keep doing it, but you're not getting money anymore. Maybe in a couple of years or something you can start getting paid again.
Yeah, and
the other thing too, a lot of very small channels, a lot of them, let's say it's younger people who maybe they're in a situation where they're not getting enough. Maybe their family doesn't earn a lot. Maybe they can't get pocket money or things like that. That YouTube ad revenue might be the only income they get. They might use that to invest in their channel. They might save up over a long time to get a better PC or even just a better mic or something. And it helps grow the channel from that. You put a bit in to get more out.
Yeah, exactly. I forgot my point. I'm having a brain fart. This was going to happen eventually in the podcast.
Oh yeah, it was inevitable.
Okay, no, and even then, that's just the money. On a greater kind of scale of this, I spend hours and hours of my time and effort making videos, putting them up on this platform, and fair enough, I guess YouTube doesn't owe me anything, but I at least like to treat me how they treat their other YouTubers. So the fact that I spend all this time making videos and stuff, and yeah, sure, I chose the option of not being paid yet, but I don't like them disrespecting people like me and other small YouTubers I watch and you by going, no, we don't want you, go away.
Exactly.
Bad mentality to have for a website that lives or dies depending on what content it has on it.
Already I see this creating a divide between the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah.
Partially because it's like you have one side who isn't going to be who isn't going to be affected, and I don't see many of them actually speaking up for the people who can't monetize. I'm not at a stage where I can monetize under this, and I wouldn't be for some time.
Yeah.
And I see this as being a problem because I think this might create one of the reasons YouTube works so well is because people feel as though they can connect with the content creators, their audience. They don't think they're some distant kind of celebrity figure or something. But I think this runs the risk of creating a rift between a lot of the audience and a lot of the small creators and the big creators. I can see it almost creating a kind of like bourgeois class within YouTube.
Yeah, and not to call anyone out, but Total Biscuit has had like one of the worst responses to this, where he's basically like, oh, you only make $100 or so a year. Literally just set up a Patreon, manage to get like a couple of patrons, and you've already made more money. And well, first of all,
Well,
we're talking about yeah. First of all, we're talking about YouTube and why YouTube is at fault.
Yeah.
We can't use the successes of another company to excuse YouTube. This is YouTube's
Exactly.
problem.
It lets YouTube get away with it if people are just going to find some quick fix. The other thing too, I've been subscribed to a channel at one point that had 500,000 subscribers, and on their Patreon they were only making $20 a month.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can't guarantee that your fans are going to be the kind that will have any money to give. You know, like it depends. Patreon is like is a really temperamental thing. Either it works or it doesn't really work. And to tell a YouTuber like me with like 300 subs to set up a Patreon, I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm gonna make like $3 a month. Probably.
Yeah, I mean the thing is there's no way of predicting really, because you could set up a Patreon and you could have like, you know, $1 or $2 a month, or you could get lucky and you could be making like almost 100. There's just not really much way of telling. You can't rely on that. You can't just use that as a quick fix to make up for the difference. Not
to mention that a lot of small YouTubers will already be relying on Patreon and YouTube ad revenue, so they're going to take a slash no matter what.
And like before, we said about the whole thing of a viral video. This is a pretty big threshold that they've got now, mainly in regards to subscribers. And it can take a lot of people years and years to get to 1,000 subscribers. Yeah. But you make that, and so probably somewhere before then, you might well have monetized your videos. And that would go for a lot of people. But then you make that one video that just it blows up, and you could make hundreds or potentially thousands from that one video, and only after then, under the new rules, would you potentially be eligible for monetization. And with the way a lot of viral videos work, some of them will get you a lot of subscribers, others won't get you any subscribers, but they will get you views.
Yeah, and another really, really common thing is if you do, star in like a cameo in a bigger YouTuber's video, or if they just give you a shout out or whatever, you're going to get like a surge of views from that, but too bad you're not going to make any money from that surge of views yet. So
people think the process is so linear, when in reality there's a lot of ways to grow. There's a lot of ways in which the growth kind of works, and there is sometimes a lot of potential money that can be made before you have 1,000 subscribers. Don't just assume everyone who is under 1,000 subscribers is going to be making at most $100 in a year.
The statistic YouTube gives out is 90% of, and they don't even say what the other 10% earn. Then, so it's like, do the other 10% earn like way more than 100, or just a little bit over? Like,
there's an immense amount of variation. Yeah,
exactly. So
you can't guarantee anything.
Yeah, they looked at the $100 number and they were like, looking at the statistics, we can just about convince people that, and we used this exact figure. We can just about convince most people that small YouTubers don't make any money, you know?
Yeah, because the thing is, that's an average, isn't it? So if it's an average, that means there's going to be people earning less and more. Yeah, and chances are there's going to be a lot more people earning less, so the small people who are earning more are probably earning a lot more.
Yeah, it's going to be something like one person's earning $1, whereas the other person's earning $2, not just two people earning 100, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
So, yeah, it's not a good statistic to give out. Apparently, it's good enough to fool most people. Most people don't want to look into it. They just want to pick a side before they've even thought anything through. And as a small YouTuber, I have to think these things through, because this is going to be directly affecting me whether I like it or not. So, and also, if you don't monetize your videos, then YouTube won't favor your videos in the algorithm.
Exactly. That was the other thing I was going to bring up. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's difficult to get bigger.
It's shaky, like the specifics of how that works, but there is absolutely a correlation. Monetized videos definitely get some kind of preference. So yes, this is also putting you at a disadvantage. So it not only means before you get to that threshold, you're not going to make money, but it's probably going to take a lot longer to get to that threshold.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So
It's a double loss.
So YouTube are basically just saying we don't want any more YouTubers. We just want the ones we already have to get bigger. Someone made a comparison where so Patreon did that thing a while ago where it's like, oh, they add an extra fee or whatever to their patrons, and basically everyone with a brain could figure out that was basically their way of saying, hey, dollar patrons, give more, so that the tax or whatever will be less substantial. And basically that's what's happening here. They don't want the small $1 YouTubers. They want the big pledges to get bigger. Yeah. So that's basically what YouTube's doing, except Patreon was like smart enough to go back on it, and save face. Whereas
YouTube never goes back.
Yep. No matter how much backlash they get, and again, this time they're not even going to get much audible backlash because it's mostly small YouTubers that are going to be complaining, and small YouTubers are small, so it's the perfect crime.
Yeah, I know what they're doing.
Yeah, and it's a shame because there really is just nothing we can do unless the best we can hope for is that Philip DeFranco causes a stir, because I feel like he's someone that would defend small YouTubers, but that's basically what we've got to depend on. We got someone like him, but
maybe PewDiePie, depending on how he kind of takes to it.
I'd be really interested to see how he responds, because of course he's in a bit of a mood with YouTube recently. So maybe he will defend smaller YouTubers, or maybe he just won't say anything at all or care. I mean, then again, it's PewDiePie, so he's probably going to make, like, he's almost guaranteed to make one video about every controversial subject that ever happens. Because even knowing he's massive, he's still going to game the algorithm, because of course he would. Why wouldn't he, you know? He can get away with it. So, yeah, I'd be really interested to see what he has to say about it. I'd imagine he might defend the smaller YouTubers, but who knows?
I think he would probably want to give a nuanced response. I don't think he's going to be particularly absolutist either way, if he does indeed give a response, which I think is likely.
And it's funny because, again, it's weird seeing the true colours of big YouTubers. Like, H3, I was expecting to side with the smaller ones, considering they were small, like, a year ago or so.
Yeah, and their whole thing was meant to be, like, they were seen as, like, pariahs. And yet... And the thing is, Ethan's admitted this as well. His ego has gotten the better of him in a lot of ways. And they're alienating a lot of people.
Yeah, and because like they blew up really fast, but like this kind of algorithm change doesn't, like, it stops you from blowing up really fast. Like, again, if one video blows up really fast, then you don't get money from the views from that video, because you have to wait until that's gone through, and then you can monetize your stuff. So yeah, I don't see why someone like him or someone like Total Biscuit or Total Biscuit I can kind of understand, because he is kind of condescending a lot. Him being like, oh, I got big back in the day, so I don't need to worry about this shit. So I'm just going to complain. Like, I've seen some big YouTubers, but even then, they're not big. They're like, they're like Jim Sterling's defending us even. But even he admits, like, he's a D-list YouTuber at best, so no one's going to know what he has to say. Dan Bull defended us, but he's a rap YouTuber, so no one cares about what he has to say. Like, unfortunately, it's the wrong YouTuber siding with us. Again, we need, like, PewDiePie or H3, but H3 like,
no. Can't rely on him.
We're gonna force ourselves to release a Logan Paul video like 2 weeks after it happened, because they released one like yesterday or the day before. Wow! Like, it's a bit too late for that.
It's come and gone.
I
mean, that's the other thing too. This isn't in any way going to prevent another Logan Paul incident.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's the big YouTubers causing the damage, and so they're punishing small YouTubers for it, which is ridiculous.
And his video wasn't even monetized as well. That's the thing. This has nothing to do with adverts.
Yeah, and And like, because another thing people have said is like, oh no, they're trying to stop like the Elsa Gate stuff, like those dumb kids videos.
Yeah.
Again, not going to affect them. Those videos get millions of views.
Yeah.
Doesn't affect them. It's going to affect mostly just people actually putting effort into their content. Like, that's the people it's going to affect. People that are going to game the system are still going to game the system. And this doesn't stop that at all. Like,
no, I mean, if anything, it encourages people to use cheap tactics to grow quickly. Because they want to make that profit as fast as possible, and people are still going to try and make that profit as quickly as they can. And so instead of maybe being a bit more creative, making something a bit more original, they're going to make something clickbaity, derivative, just to get clicks and subs. It's probably going to encourage sub botting as well, and view botting.
Yeah, like, because that's exactly what I thought when they said, oh, you have this much time to get this big, otherwise we'll cut off your monetization. I'm like, how many YouTubers are going to resort to clickbait just to get over that threshold in time?
Yeah.
And that's not good. Like,
no.
YouTube is supposed to be content first, and this actively kills good content.
Yeah.
I mean, again, done.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it, for one thing, I don't like the over-regulation of businesses, but also not even in terms of like governmental regulation, also in terms of like terms of service and things like that. I don't like that to get overly complicated because I think it is obstructionist, and you can see it with things like this. I'm okay for the most part with YouTube being like just a Wild West kind of thing, having some rules. But like, I see no reason, given how you're going to get potential incidents like adpocalypse, no matter what you do in regards to the adverts on small channels, might as well just let them get monetized anyway. Unless they are breaking terms of service, let any channel of any size monetize, because it's not going to fix anything if you don't. There's no downside really to doing it.
Yeah, they're just using it to A, I guess, save money, and B, to save face. Like, oh, we're doing something, and most people will be like, oh, cool, they're doing something. Whereas we're like, well, they're not. Well, they're doing something that's actually making it worse, not better.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's weird because the people defending this, usually the people that are the first to like be like, hey, YouTube changed a thing, and I'm angry. And the one time they actually change something that's quite important, they're like, I don't see what the big deal is. I don't know. Donate to my Patreon.
Yeah. Like, I mean, for one thing, I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to call doomsday or anything. I don't think this is going to be a terrible, terrible thing.
Yeah.
It's going to have downsides, of course, but I think people will more or less manage. I don't think this is going to ruin many channels.
But also, it's the slippery slope argument as well.
Yeah.
If you get away with this, they're just going to keep moving the goalposts further and further back. Until it gets to the point where it's literally impossible to make a new channel and get it monetized. So, like, I don't know, like, because it's eventually going to be like, oh no, the people with like 100,000 subs or more make any worthwhile money, and that'll be that'll be in a while. Like, it won't be immediately, but again, it used to be anyone can monetize, and it was like 10,000 views, and now it's like gotta get a ridiculous amount of views within a certain amount of time, and
the only way YouTube could prevent another like adpocalypse or something like that is if every video on the website was manually reviewed before it was published, and that is impossible. It is physically impossible to do that.
Yeah.
So really, there is no foolproof counter for it. This isn't going to help at all. It's going to have downsides. How bad those downsides are, we'll have to wait and see. This is fixing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, and there's not much else to really be said. We could keep on and saying the same thing over and over again, but unless one of us comes up with a genius solution or whatever, I feel like we've covered all the bases. So
I think so. Yeah.
This is a good time to kind of segue into the outro. I guess just like out of obligation, we should plug our channels. I'm Asterisk Official. There's going to be a link in the description. He's Somnibrew. Link in the description. Because I assume with podcast episodes or whatever, for now, we're just going to like alternate which channel it goes up on or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's good to just kind of plug us, like both of ourselves in each one, just in case.
Yeah, no reason not to.
Yeah, exactly. I make analysis videos about card game anime and video games. If you're into Combat Vanguard or Kamen Rider, that kind of thing, you'll probably find a couple videos that you'll be able to tolerate in my description. And if you want to plug yourself quickly.
Yeah, I make videos mainly on games and anime. They're analytical videos. Sometimes I like to pick stuff that you wouldn't necessarily think to analyze. And yeah, we both do similar kinds of videos. It's just mainly the topics that is where you're going to find a lot of the differences. And you can find my channel in the description and at the end of the video as well.
Yes. There's also our Twitters. We will have Twitter. Those will be in the description. I give only the hottest of takes. And by the hottest of takes, I mean I usually arrive a fence at a conclusion most of the time. I mean, unless it's something actually bullshit. But yeah, I will give big, long threads of my opinions of stuff as they come out. So if you want to, like, more often, if you want to, like, more bite-sized opinions from me, that's the place to go. I also retweet the sickest of memes. And Somnibrew sometimes gets political, so be careful of that if you don't want.
If you're prepared to hate me, follow me on Twitter.
Yeah. And we also have other sites. Do I even mention Kitsu? I guess it'll be down there, but I don't even really use it anymore.
Have a Minds account. I'm also on Gab.
Yes.
I'm not right, I swear.
Yeah, if you know what those sites are, then you already know. Like, we don't need to describe it to you if you already know it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And if you don't, look into it and be prepared to close the tab very quick.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm going to give a brief overview of coming attractions. I'm working on another Kamen Rider video and a Vanguard video, so get ready for that. And I will also be doing videos about the new Sentai and Precure, probably as they are airing. And do you have anything you're currently working on? I know you're working on a certain video that you've almost got ready.
Yeah, I've got a second Fate Apocrypha video in the works. That one's going to be going quite in-depth about spoilers and that kind of thing. I really want to cover all the bases with that one. And then videos after then, probably going to be mostly anime-orientated, talking about stuff from this current season for the most part. Yes,
and I feel like there's everything to be said, so gonna end it.
Bazinga.
Yeah,